The following is a presentation of WCYT Sports.
Laughlin the rebound. The clock hits zero. The Spartans are state champions. They avenged the loss from 2 years ago, and they'll take home a state championship.
Hands it off to Grant Raver, going out the 15, down to the 5. Gets into the end zone for Homestead. 15-yard run for Grant Raver. Gets Homestead on the board.
Trying to get inside. Nothing there. Step back. Open three. It's gone. Todd Curry knocks it down. Spartans win. Spartans win.
On your dial at 91.1 FM and online at WCYT.org, it's time for the action of Homestead Spartan Athletics.
With the win last week at Bishop Dwenger, all the talk around the conference was how good the Homestead Spartan football team is. But the Spartans knew they couldn't celebrate or put their guard down for one moment, because this week wasn't going to get any easier, as another highly ranked and undefeated team is up next on the schedule. And what a team it is! The number 4 ranked Snider Panthers march into Dave Walters Memorial Stadium tonight to take on a team they've owned on the gridiron over the last 20 years. So why should Homestead fans think this year is going to be any different? One thing the Spartans can point to this year is a play of their defense, which is currently the best in the SAC, and coming off a game they held a team that was averaging 46.6 points per game to just 15. The Spartans must feel great heading into what the media are calling the game of the year against Snider tonight. But it's not going to be easy, especially if you take the past into consideration. Ever since the first time these two schools played back in 1993, which Homestead won, the Snider Panthers have owned the head-to-head series, winning 18 of 20 games and currently holding a 9-game winning streak. But the Spartans know that if they're going to win the victory bell, they're going to have to knock off the top teams in the conference. So far, they've done just that. But can they pull off one of the biggest wins in school history tonight? We'll find out in a couple hours. It's time for Week 5 of the high school football season, as the 4-0 Homestead Spartans face the 4-0 Snider Panthers, live from Dave Walters Memorial Stadium. Now it's time for the Homestead Spartan Football Pregame Show. Here's play-by-play broadcaster Donnie Harmon.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are live from Dave Walters Memorial Stadium on the campus of Homestead High School for tonight's Week 5 matchup, featuring the visiting team, the 4-0 number 5 ranked team in Class 6A. It's the Snider Panthers, who are coached by Kurt Tittman, who is in his 11th year at Snider. And the home team, the 4-0 number 8 ranked team in Class 6A, the Homestead Spartans, who are coached by Chad Zollman, who is in his 16th year at Homestead. Welcome to Week 5 of high school football, everyone. I'm Donnie Harmon alongside Matt Saalfrank and Braden Carroll. And we're just about 40 minutes away from kickoff, but for now, let's start with the Homestead Spartan pregame show. And now we take a look back to last week as Homestead defeated Bishop Dwenger 17-15 in a thrilling matchup between two of the best teams in the area. What did the Spartans do in that game that impressed you?
Yeah, well, Homestead's defense really stepped up against a Dwenger offense that had been averaging over 43 points per game the first 3 weeks of the season. Cam Rogers had his best game of the season so far on defense with 17 total tackles, 5 tackles for loss, and 2 sacks. Rogers also had 2 receptions for 31 yards on the offensive end of the ball. Homestead, they only scored 17 points, but you really can't criticize the Homestead offense, as Dwenger has one of the best defenses in the entire state. Luke Goody was getting heavily blitzed in the first half, took a few sacks, and even an intentional grounding penalty to avoid the sack. Goody played much better in the second half, found Jared Kissler for a few important catches, and after a long kick return, Dwenger was looking like they would at least get a field goal, but the defense for Homestead able to force a turnover at the end of the first half. Jake Archbold with an interception off Brendan Lytle in the end zone, and Archbold also had a very important catch in the second half for Homestead, which would eventually set up a gunner fry field goal that would put Homestead up for good. And unlike last season where the Homestead defense got worn down against Dwenger, they really stepped up last week to snap the Saints' 10-game winning streak dating back to last season.
Yeah, and another member of Homestead that stepped up was Braden Hardwick. I mean, he had 2 touchdowns and 215 ground yards on 28 carries. That's just something that you don't see often in high school football. And Gunnar Fry really showed that he could be a clutch kicker with that late field goal that ultimately won the game.
And you mentioned a little bit, Braden Hardwick had probably the best game of his career. And that was big for the Spartans because Luke Goody throughout the game was under a lot of pressure, constantly having to get out of the pocket pocket and scramble, but it was impressive that Homestead was able to get the ground game going against a team like Bishop Dwenger.
And Braden Hardwick, one of the best games of his career, mentioned at 215 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns, along with 5 receptions for 32 yards, so not just running, but also catching some important passes from Luke Goody. Hardwick, by far the most important player for Homestead in that game. I would argue, at least on the offensive end, Cam Rogers had a very good game on defense. Hardwick, I would say, probably the best running back in the conference, putting up incredible numbers through 4 games. 626 rushing yards. That's over 150 rushing yards per game, along with 9 rushing touchdowns. Hardwick could come close to breaking some Homestead season rushing records.
Yeah, and like you guys said earlier, Luke Goody was having a little bit of trouble in the passing game on the first half, and Braden Hardwick was just able to get our team back and bring him into halftime with a lot of hope, and that ended up being a huge part of their win.
And emotions always run high when 2 undefeateds play, such as last week, but the emotions will likely be even higher this week, as both Homestead and Snider are 4-0. This game has a large impact on who ends up winning the conference, as the winner of this game controls their own destiny. How does Homestead stay focused and not have a letdown game after everything they went through last week at Dwenger?
Yeah, it was no doubt a huge win for Homestead as they beat the reigning 4A state champions Bishop Dwenger. The schedule was easier on the start of the season for Homestead. It gets much tougher for the Spartans. They have to stay focused and not let the win of Dwenger affect how they play today.
Yeah, and like you said, they have to stay focused and they have to keep a positive mentality. No, they can't feel the pressure, especially at home. And they have to trust Hardwick, trust Goody, and walk in with the same mentality that they did against Bishop Dwenger.
And last season, Homestead faced Snider 2 times, with the second game coming in sectionals and being a lot more competitive. How does this change the impact of tonight's game, with the reality being these teams will likely play each other again at some point in the postseason?
Yeah, it should not affect much tonight as both teams are focused on this week alone. And even though both teams you mentioned are in the same sectional, there is a chance they never play each other if Carroll or Noblesville is able to pull an upset, and both Homestead and Snider completely different teams compared to last year's regular season, compared to the postseason, and I really don't think tonight's game will have an effect on anything other than the conference race, as one of these teams will remain undefeated after tonight.
Yeah, tonight is just for Homestead to have something over Snider, which has been uncommon lately. So Homestead's just hoping for a big victory or just any victory.
That's going to take us to our first break of the night, but when we come back, you'll hear Carson Clymer's interview with Homestead Spartan head football coach Chad Zollman and get his thoughts on last week and how they prepare for tonight's game. So stay tuned. You're listening to the home of Homestead Spartan football, The Point 91 FM.
Arby's at Coventry, located at 5755 Falls Drive, across from Zestos. Arby's is more than roast beef with turkey, ham, brisket, bacon, chicken tenders. Arby's has the meats. Arby's at Coventry is open for breakfast at 6 a.m. all the way to midnight. To find more information, find Arby's on social media and online at arbys.com.
Casa Italian Restaurants, with 4 Fort Wayne locations: West Jefferson Boulevard, DuPont Road, Parnell Avenue, and Stellhorn Road. Featuring Fort Wayne's famous Casa Burro salad, wood-burning brick oven pizzas, and over 30 pasta selections. Dine-in or carry-out available, or let Casa cater your next special occasion. Online at CasaRestaurants.com. Follow Casa on Facebook and Twitter. Casa Italian Restaurants, a proud sponsor of WCYT Sports Broadcasts.
Welcome back to the Homestead Spartan pregame show. I'm now joined by Homestead Spartan football head coach Chad Zollman. And coach, to start things off, let's take a look at last week, as your team got your biggest win of the season against the then number 2 team in Class 5A, the Bishop Dwenger Saints. You won 17-15. What can you say about your team's performance in that game?
Well, we were really pleased. I felt like offensively we found a rhythm in the second half specifically and ran the ball significantly well, and I felt like the offensive line got better as the game went on, and then Luke was doing doing a very good job of finding receivers when we needed it, and had some big throws and big first downs and things like that. So I felt like it was a good performance on offense. And on defense, we know they want to run the ball, and they had trouble all night, and I thought our defense really flew around and did a great job against that pretty powerful offense. And so it was a really good win. I do feel like we left some points off the board. We got inside the 10. And that's one of those things. We had 2 penalties that backed us up when we got in that area. And if we put 2 touchdowns on them at that point, it's an 8-28 game, and that changes everything. So we've got to figure out how to, against good teams like that, not to make mistakes and put that ball in the end zone when we get in there. So that's what we can take away from it. But the kids I'm so proud of how hard they played for 4 quarters.
And last week, junior running back Braden Hardwick came up huge for your team, finishing with over 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. How much of a factor was the ability to establish the running game in your team's win?
Huge. I mean, the ability to run the football is really, really important, and especially when you get towards the later parts of the year and into the postseason, you've got to be able to run the ball. And if you can't, you're in trouble if you become one-dimensional. And we were fortunate to have weapons everywhere. And our offensive line, like I said, did a great job starting to put helmets on helmets and making sure that everybody was checked up. And Braden's got a gift as far as finding seams and bursting through them. And he did that Friday night and really was a significant part of our win.
And in the first half of last week's game, we saw quarterback Luke Goody under pressure frequently, and the running game wasn't as strong as it was in the second half. Do you feel like the offensive line stepped up their game as the game went along, and if so, what changed?
Yeah, I do. I felt like there were some halftime adjustments that we made, and our offensive staff does a tremendous job of that, is making sure that we get everybody blocked and everybody assignment sound and things like that. But part of it was I felt like we were the more physical team up front, and that became apparent as the game wore on in the third and fourth quarter. I felt like we were able to run the ball because our kids were starting to get a push up front, which made a big difference.
Coach Chad Zollman joins me here in the They look undersized out there, so what makes this unit so special?
We are undersized. I think every team we face, we're going to have smaller kids up front than they do on the defensive side. But to make up for that, they have great technique. They don't play selfish. They play good team football. And what I mean by that is our defensive line knows that their job is to maintain the line of scrimmage and to get a little bit of penetration. And if they're driven back into the laps of our linebackers, we can't make plays. And Friday night specifically, they did exactly that game plan. Now, their stats weren't great, but they were the reason we were able to fly around and make plays, and that was pretty significant. So I'd say our linebacker core does an outstanding job of tracking things down. And once they get to the ball, they don't miss many tackles, and that's been a really big part of our defense so far.
And I don't think this team was short on confidence, but does a big win over a team like Dwenger help raise the confidence even more for your team?
I'm sure it does. We feel like we're a pretty good football team walking into any game, and we feel like we've got a really good chance at winning every time we walk on the field. And it certainly helps that against a team that we knew was good, and they've got a lot of good players. And for us to be able to do what we did against them Friday night certainly has to help their confidence and maybe confirm some of the things we thought about ourselves to begin with.
And tonight you play Snider, the only other undefeated team in the conference. Historically, Homestead has had not much success over Snider, but what is the difference this year that helps you give confidence going into the game?
I don't know that we've lacked confidence playing them the last few years. It's just getting over that hump. And, last year, the second game we played them, we had a 2-touchdown lead going into the fourth, and we ended up with 4 turnovers in the fourth quarter that killed us. And so things like that have haunted us against this team. This team is different. I think they fully expect to win every game they walk on. Not that other teams haven't, but there's just a little bit of a swagger to this group that maybe we haven't had in recent years. And so I think that's part of it. But you never know. This is a good test of where we're at right here in this season, and we're not anywhere near where we want to be at the end of the season yet. So we're still improving, and this is a tremendous test because it's a really good opponent, and we've seen a lot of them. We've seen them in scrimmage and, all those types of things. So we're very familiar with them, and I feel like our kids are ready.
And once again, I'm joined by Coach Chad Zollman here in the pregame show. Looking at the Snider Panthers, what can you expect to see from them tonight?
Well, similar to the last week, their run game is a significant part of their offense. They want to run the ball down your throats, and play action pass is their main passing complement to that, obviously. And defensively, their kids run to the football, and they do a tremendous job of coaching those kids up assignment-wise and making sure when they get there they tackle well and all those types of things. So we see a really good football squad.
And much like Dwenger, this Snider team is very strong up front. Your team was very inexperienced on the lines heading into the year. Do you feel like the game against Dwenger will go a long way for preparing you for Snider tonight?
Yeah, and we've been preparing, each week we're trying to get better to get to this point. We know this part of the season there's some really good teams that we'll face, and so, it's hopefully just another progression in our pursuit of being a great football team by the end of the football season. So that's what we're headed for, and this is a good test to see if we're making progress.
And finally, Coach, can we get some keys for a Homestead victory tonight?
We have to do things well on defense as far as being sound and making sure our coverage is good, because they'll play action pass, and we have to make sure our eyes are right and seeing the right things and adjusting and reacting properly and tackling well. We have to tackle well against this group. They don't go down easy, any of them do, and so we've got to tackle in groups and with good technique. And on offense, they pose some problems up front that we haven't seen necessarily in previous teams. I have a couple kids that are really good football players. Their linebacker core is really good, and their coverage is good. So we have to execute at a very high level on offense and be efficient and not get penalties and turnovers and things like that that can cause drives to stall and things like that. And I think if we can do those things, we'll be successful.
All right, Coach, thanks and good luck tonight. We'll be back with more of the pregame show leading up to kickoff of tonight's game. It's Homestead Snider right here on your Spartan Sports Source, The Point 91 FM.
Marco's Pizza, located at 10345 Illinois Road inside the shops of Scott Road. Marco's specializes in pizza, cheesy bread, subs, salads, and many other menu items. You can place an order for delivery.
West Jefferson Boulevard next to Dunkin' Donuts Baskin Robbins. You can contact Moe's by calling 969-MOE's, or for catering, that number is 969-EATS. Moe's specializes in southwestern foods like burritos, tacos, and nachos with no microwave or freezers. You can visit Moe's online at moes.com. Thank you, Moe's, for supporting the Point 91 FM and being a proud sponsor of Homestead athletic coverage on our station.
And now, let's head back out to the stadium for more Homestead Spartan football, right here on the Point 91 FM.
Welcome back live to Dave Walters Memorial Stadium at Homestead High School for tonight's Week 5 matchup featuring the only unbeaten teams left in the conference, the Snider Panthers and the Homestead Spartans. I'm Donnie Harmon alongside Matt Saalfrank and Braden Carroll, continuing on with the Homestead Spartan pregame show. And guys, Snider always seems to contend for the SAC every year, similar to Dwenger. However, since the Spartans have joined the SAC in 2015, Homestead is 0-4 against Snider in the regular season.
Yeah, Snider versus Homestead, not a very competitive rivalry in football, as it's very one-sided. Snider 18-3 all-time against Homestead, and last Homestead win coming in 2006. And aside from Snider and Dwenger, Homestead only has 2 games in the SAC regular season that have been losses, which is 2015 Carroll, and then obviously that devastating loss to Bishop Luers last year. And since 2015, the year Homestead joined the SAC, Snider has 3 regular season losses. Snider 33-3 in the SAC regular season since 2015, as the Panthers are used to being in a similar position they are tonight.
Yeah, the Snider is a really impressive team, especially now that they're in the SAC. And this Homestead team has had a lot of struggling in these big games against Snider. But I think this year they definitely have the confidence to break this streak, especially with what we've seen so far in the past 4 games. They've just really been dominant in all of them, and I think they can put up the same amount of points in this game.
And this Snider team returns a lot of key players from last year, including quarterback John Barnes Jr. and defensive star Giannini Belizaire, one of the best defensive players in the area. Matt, what can we expect to see from them tonight?
Yeah, well, you mentioned Snider. They do return a ton of talent from last season's sectional championship squad. The only key loss is star running back Anais Lockett, who graduated last year. They return quarterback John Barnes Jr., 586 passing yards, about 55% completion, 7 touchdowns to 0 interceptions, averaging about 9 yards per pass. Very impressive. Lenny Bennett has stepped up as the team's #1 running back this season, 434 rushing yards, 6 rushing touchdowns, about 8.2 yards per one. He's per run. He's a player to watch out for if you're a Homestead fan. And Dylan Duff, the Panthers' top basketball player in his first year playing football for Snider. Duff has 12 catches for 229 yards and 2 receiving touchdowns this season.
Yeah, Luke Goody and the offensive line struggled last week against that Dwenger defensive line. And now that you're playing the Snider defensive line led by Giannini, you're definitely going to struggle if you can't make some adjustments from the last game.
And we're going to take another break. When we come back, you'll hear Matt sit down with junior star running back Braden Hardwick. So stay tuned. You're listening to the home of Homestead Spartan Football, the Point 91 FM.
I'm here with Homestead junior Braden Hardwick for this week's player interview here in the Homestead Football pregame show. And Braden, last year you didn't get many carries until about halfway through the regular season, but this year is a much different story, as you're currently averaging over 20 carries per game through 4 weeks. How has the transition been to primary running back?
The transition has been good. Last year I kind of had to fight for my position with Cam Rogers because he was a really strong running back, but halfway through the season I proved that I was a little bit better, and I worked my butt off throughout the season, and I finally got to that starting position. And this year Coach Skelton knew that he could trust me at the running back position, so he's giving me a lot more carries and a lot more opportunities throughout this year.
A season ago, the Spartans started 2-2 through 4 games, losing to Lures and Dwenger. This season, you beat both those teams and are 4-0. What has been the largest difference between the 2018 season and the current one?
It's mainly just the brotherhood that we have. Every day we come out together and we fight for each other, and we just rely on everybody on our team, and we just fight as one group and not separate from offense and defense. We all just fight as one every day at practice. We work as hard as we can to push each other and get better, and it's just the brotherhood that we have.
And last season, you had 8 rushing touchdowns in 11 games. This year, you currently have 9 rushing touchdowns through 4 games and are leading the conference in rushing yards. In what ways have you improved your game coming into the season?
I need to thank my offensive line a lot for that, because I couldn't do anything without them. So all those numbers are because of them. But this year, I've got a lot more opportunities than I did last year. So mainly just that, more opportunities.
And going back to week 2 against Concordia, you had your first and only fumble this season. You then went on to have 2 50-plus yard touchdowns the remainder of the game. What does that say about the team mentality as you were able to bounce back from mistakes in a big way?
I was definitely upset when I fumbled, so I wanted to do everything I could to make it up to the team. And I need to thank the defense for getting a stop after I fumbled, because held them to 0 points after that, so that was great. And everybody picked me up on the sideline saying it was all right, and so I need to thank a lot of them for that. And we're just very strong mentally as a team. Everybody's just so tough mentally, and we're all just always ready.
And you were the only player to score touchdowns last week for Homestead against Dwenger, as your team narrowly defeated the Saints 17-15. How big of a win was that for your team moving forward?
It was a really big win for us, because our goal was to win the Bell this year, and it still is. We need to beat Dwenger, which we just did, and we have to beat Snider tonight so we can get the Bell, because those are the 2 biggest games. And it means it's a big win for us, because we lost to the Saints last year, and we just wanted to come out and put up a big fight against them, and we got the win.
And tonight your team takes on the only other undefeated team in the conference, the Snider Panthers. 2 of the team's 4 losses last season came to the hand to these Panthers. How much is revenge going to be a factor in tonight's game?
Revenge is going to be huge tonight. Last year we lost to them twice, and it's not a good feeling losing to them ever. But we got to come out ready and focused and just play the hard football we know.
And with so much at stake in terms of the conference race in tonight's game, how do you stay focused on just Snider and not look ahead to the future?
This whole year we've been focusing on one game at a time. Each week we just try and go 1-0. We don't try and think too much. The Bell is one of the main goals that we have, but each week we just need to focus on the game ahead of us, because we can't win the Bell without winning the game ahead of us. So that's just our main goal, is just going 1-0 every week and just focusing on the opponent that we have this Friday.
All right, thanks, Braden, and good luck tonight.
Thank you.
We'll be back with more of the pregame show leading up and kickoff of tonight's Week 5 matchup right after this. You're listening to Homestead Spartan Football on the Point 91 FM.
Moe's Southwest Grill, located at 6739 West Jefferson Boulevard next to Dunkin' Donuts, Baskin-Robbins. You can contact Moe's by dialing 969-MOES, or for catering, that number is 969-EATS. Moe's specializes in Southwestern foods like burritos, tacos, and nachos with no microwaves or freezers. You can visit Moe's online at Moe's.com. Thank you, Moe's, for supporting the Point 91 FM and being a proud sponsor of Homestead High School athletics coverage on our station.
Marco's Pizza, located at 10345 Illinois Road inside the shops of Scott Road. Marco specializes in pizza, cheesy bread, subs, salads, and many other menu items. You can place an order for delivery or carryout by calling 625-6800. That number once again is 625-6800. You can also order online at marcos.com. Thank you, Marcos, for supporting the Point 91 FM and being a proud sponsor of Homestead High School athletics coverage on our station.
And now, let's head back out to the stadium for more Homestead Spartan football, right here on the Point 91 FM.
Welcome back live to Dave Walters Memorial Stadium on the campus of Homestead High School. I'm Donnie Harmon alongside Matt Saalfrank and Braden Carroll. And now it's time for our weekly segment, Look Around the SAC.
And now it's time for the Look Around the SAC with Donnie and Matt. It's week 5 and only 2 teams in the SAC remain undefeated. Which team will win each game tonight? Let's find out right now. Here's Donnie Harmon.
Welcome to your weekly look around the SAC. I'm Donnie Harmon here with Matt Saalfrank. Matt, we got a special week of games lined up for us.
Yeah, probably the best week of games in the SAC this season. All teams playing are somewhat evenly matched. Likely to be a lot closer games today, less blowouts compared to the first 4 weeks of the season.
A little interesting stat tonight. The 2 undefeated teams play, the 2 3-1 teams play, the 2 2-2 teams play, the 2 1-3 teams play, and the 2 0-4 teams play. So a lot of even matchups. Obviously, the main event tonight, Homestead and Snider, both teams undefeated. But there's a lot of other good games around the conference to look at. And based on the records of the teams playing, we should probably start with the 2 0-4 teams, as we have Southside traveling to take on Wayne.
Yeah, similar to last week when Northside took on Wayne, this game features the only 2 winless teams left in the conference. You mentioned both 0-4. Southside has played decently against Northrop in week 2, but outside that, they haven't done much on offense. Overall, I think the Archers are a much better team compared to last year. In tonight's game versus Wayne, probably the best chance for Southside to snap a 17-game losing streak going back to 2017. Wayne only lost to 2 teams last year, Dwenger twice and Homestead once, to finish the season 9-3. This year is much different as the team lost almost all their talent, but running back Sean Fields, who I think is probably going to have a good game tonight. And outside of Dwenger week 1, Wayne has played 3 very beatable teams, but losing to all of them. And if Wayne is not able to win tonight against Southside, they will likely finish the regular season 0-9, as they still have Snider, Concordia, Homestead, and Carroll on the schedule, with all but Concordia being at home. I expect Wayne to be better in the next few years, but it's tough to have 2 back-to-back really good seasons. My prediction is Southside 14, Wayne 13.
You know, Wayne, we expect him to not be this bad this year, coming off a really good year. They lost a lot of talent, but they do have a few good players. Southside, I think they're much improved from a year ago, but still, I think Wayne wins this one. I think Sean Fields, big game. He has a field day out there, runs for maybe 200 yards. Southside, the defense has improved, I think, but the offense still, I don't think they're able to get it done. I think Wayne wins this one 24-14. Wayne, they're not good this year, but I think they get a big win. 2 1-3 teams, Bishop Luers at Northside. Luers way down from a year ago. We've seen that. They did beat Wayne. And then Northside start off 0-3, didn't score a point the first 3 weeks against very stiff competition, though. Now Deuce Taylor, the Snider transfer, finally playing for them.
Yeah, Northside looking really good right now, and you mentioned even though both these teams sit at 1-3 on the season, I think overall Northside is by far the better team. You mentioned Northside did not score a single point in the first 3 weeks of the season. They put up 48 on a depleted Wayne team to win that one by 32 points. Northside's offense finally clicking and putting up some points, as we mentioned. This game last year was probably the upset of the year, as Northside took down a very, very good Bishop Luers team in a shootout 52-49. I don't expect this one to be as high scoring for Luers this year, as the offense was shut out in week 3 against Homestead. This season, Northside has a very easy schedule the rest of the year, as they have a realistic shot to finish 4-5 or even 5-4. You never know. But on paper, these teams appear to be evenly matched up, but Northside's offense catches fire again, puts up over 50 points on the Luers defense. My prediction is Northside 51, Luers 20.
And you mentioned last year, Northside pulled off probably the biggest upset of the year against a very good Bishop Luers team. Ended up going to semi-state in 3A. Northside Northside, I think now with Deuce Taylor at quarterback, you move Ronald Collins, a former quarterback, over to receiver. He's a threat. You have Alex Holiday-Robinson in the backfield. I think this team much improved from a year ago. The first 3 games don't show that, but that was against very good teams. And the Lures, what can you say about them other than the fact that they're down this year? I got Northside winning this one. I think they win this 35-28. Now take that back, 35-21. Lures and scoring 28 points. But Northside, I think they win this one. Like you said, they have a chance to be the 6th best team in the conference, maybe even the 5th when it's all said and done.
Yeah, they still have to play Concordia, so you never know.
Maybe 2 teams would put Northside at this point, the 2-2 teams in the conference. Concordia, they travel to Spooler Stadium to take on Northrop. What do you think's going to happen in this one?
Yeah, well, Concordia, they're coming off a blowout win against Lures last week, and Northrop coming off a blowout loss against Carroll last week. Both these teams have already played Homestead, and I would say, and you would probably say, Concordia overall a better team than Northrop. I expect this one to be somewhat close, though. Both these teams are in the middle of the conference in terms of record. As I said, at 2-2, as you mentioned. Don't expect this one to be a blowout, but Concordia pulls away in the 4th quarter. My prediction is Concordia to win this one 34-26 over Northrop.
Both teams have very solid running game. Jeremiah Green, good running back for Northrop. Amir Drew, very good for Concordia. But I think the difference in this one is Concordia's passing attack. Brandon Davis may be in the top half of starting quarterbacks in the conference. He's looked pretty solid so far this year, very mobile. And I think with some of the weapons like Jaron Kindig, Jalen Vanderbosch, I think Concordia is able to air it out against Northrop. I think it's going to be close. I think Northrop hangs around for a while, but Concordia pulls away maybe late in the second half. I have the Cadets winning 38-28. And then final game we're predicting 3-1. Carroll, they travel to Shields Field to take on the 3-1 Bishop Dwenger Saints. Dwenger lost by 2 to Homestead last week, obviously, and Carroll a 1-point loss to Snider in week 2. Both these teams look to be, well, right now you put them 3-4 in the conference. This should be a great matchup.
Yeah, and aside from tonight's game of Homestead versus Snider, by far the best game in the SAC this week. This game is essentially a conference champion eliminator game, as both teams you mentioned already have 1 loss. A 2-loss team would take a ton of help to win the SAC, so you would think either Carroll or Dwenger after tonight would be out of the conference race, whoever ends up losing. Dwenger hosting a game for back-to-back weeks at Shields Field. How will the Saints be able to bounce back against a 2-point loss to Homestead last Friday night? Dwenger's loss to Homestead last week snapped a 10-game winning streak for the Saints, as the last time they lost was to Snider in week 8 of 2018. Carroll also has 1 loss, as you mentioned, coming to Snider by a single point due to a blocked PAT in week 2. This is a huge test for the Carroll Chargers. If they can somehow win this game, they would be in the conversation for best team in the area, as they still have to play Homestead later on in the season. You mentioned already losing to Snider. I don't think Dwenger loses back-to-back games. My pick is Dwenger 20 to Carroll 16.
I think this is the game where we find out just how good Carroll really is. I think Dwenger maybe not quite as strong as a year ago, but the defense still very solid in the passing. The offense in whole is a lot more balanced. Carroll, they beat Lures up expected. They beat up Northside expected. They beat up Northrop expected. Snider, they lost by 1. We still really have yet to see how good Snider and Carroll are. Really, we have to yet to see how good the whole conference is. So, but Carroll for sure, we're a little uncertain about this point. I mean, they beat Snider last year, week 2, 38-14. Thought they were legit. Ended up going 3-6. So this Carroll team, I think we see how good they are against Dwenger, and I think they will end up being pretty good, but I do think Dwenger's able to win this one. And here it is. Same score as the Snider game, 21-20.
You never know.
Obviously, the main event, 4-0, number 5 and 6A Snider. They travel to Homestead tonight to take on the number 8 undefeated Homestead Spartans. We'll be calling that game, so stay tuned. You're listening to the home of Homestead Spartan football, the Point 91 FM.
Casa Italian Restaurants with 4 Fort Wayne locations: West Jefferson Boulevard, DuPont Road, Parnell Avenue, and Stellhorn Road. Featuring Fort Wayne's famous Casa Burro salad, wood-burning brick oven pizzas, and over 30 pasta selections. Dine-in or carry-out available, or let Casa cater your next special occasion. Online at CasaRestaurants.com. Follow Casa on Facebook and Twitter. Casa Italian Restaurants, a proud sponsor of WCYT Sports Broadcasts.
Marco's Pizza, located at 10345 Illinois Road inside the shops of Scott Road. Marco specializes in pizza, cheesy bread, subs, salads, and many other menu items. You can place an order for delivery or carryout by calling 625-6800. That number once again is 625-6800. You can also order online at marcos.com. Thank you, Marcos, for supporting the Point 91 FM and being a proud sponsor of Homestead High School athletics coverage on our station.
And now, let's head back out to the stadium for more Homestead Spartan football, right here on the Point 91 FM.
Welcome back to Homestead High School for a night's SAC clash between two conference heavyweights. It's the Homestead Spartans and the Snider Panthers. I'm Donnie Harmon alongside Matt Saalfrank and Braden Carroll. Just a few minutes out for the kickoff. And right now, let's take a look back to the last time these two teams played. It was in the sectional finals last year. Homestead had a 28-14 at half and looked unstoppable in offense, but then Snider outscored Homestead 35-7 in the final two quarters to win 49-35.
Yeah, and just heading into that postseason, Homestead drew Northrop and Snider drew Carroll. Both teams won very easily. Homestead played their best out of all 11 games during the first half of that sectional final against Snider. You mentioned they held a 28-14 lead. The offense was clicking. The defense was shutting Snider down for the most part. Homestead had all the momentum and appeared they would be on their way to a sectional championship to face Carmel in regionals. Something at half changed for both teams as Snider's defense looked at their top notch in the second half. Homestead's offense did not play well in the final half, limited to only 7 points of offense. The Snider offense and defense probably the best the entire season in the second half of that sectional game. Snider had over 250 rushing yards and 5 total rushing touchdowns, with 165 yards going to Anais Lockett, who I mentioned earlier, graduated no longer on this Snider team. The Panthers ended up losing in regionals the next week to Carmel, who made it all the way to the 6A state championship, and Homestead was much better than the record indicated at 7-4 last season. The SAC as a whole was incredibly deep.
And what's something different about this year's Spartan team you think gives them an advantage as opposed to last year?
Well, one of the main things is that Luke Goody and Jake Archibald split time at quarterback last season. Now it's obviously just Luke Goody, and actually in that Snider game, the regular season was the first time that Braden Hardwick, I believe he had 18 carries, it was the first time that we got a true dose of how lethal he could be on the ground, and obviously he was splitting time with Cam Rogers at running back last season. Now the primary running back, this Homestead team doesn't really have a secondary running back, all the carries going to Hardwick, so I would say just Goody being the primary quarterback and the ability to have Hardwick as a star running back this season.
And who are some players on each team you think are going to be important for teams need to have a big game?
Yeah, well, starting with Homestead, it's going to be Braden Hardwick, obviously. Cam Rogers, they need to have a big game on offense and defensive, respectively. And for Snider, defensive tackle Giannini Belizaire, 20 tackles, 3 sacks on the season. Needs to have a big game to limit the powerful Homestead offense.
Homestead, Snider, a few minutes away from kickoff. Homestead, we saw them lose to Snider last year, a lot more competitive than the previous year before. Do you think Homestead's taking the next step in this offseason? This is the year they can finally take down the Panthers?
I think so. During the warm-ups before this game, they actually had the score of last year's sectional, 49-35 on the scoreboard, while the Homestead team was warming up to see that, maybe some extra motivation for tonight's game. With this Homestead team completely different from last year. Last year was kind of a rough season. They were 2-3 at one point. Their longest losing streak in a long time. Obviously, they haven't lost any games this year. I think last week that win over Bishop Dwenger was huge. Last year, Homestead, they obviously lost to Bishop Dwenger. They kind of fell apart in the second half in that one. Although last week they were actually able to hold on and pull out the win and stay undefeated. It's going to be a big game. 2 undefeated teams, although Snider, this is not unfamiliar territory there. I mentioned 33-3 in the SAC regular season since Homestead joined in 2015. Homestead, they have not beaten Snider since 2006, and that was actually in sectional play. This is going to be a good game.
What are some keys for both teams that they want to come out victorious in this one?
Yeah, I think for both teams, they need to take care of the ball, limit the run game on defense, and specifically for Homestead, get Goody going early on, needs to have a good start on offense. He did not have a good start on offense last week, was hassled all over the place by that Dwenger defensive line. The Homestead offensive line needs to play better in this first half to give Goody more time in the pocket to make some smart passes. And some keys for Snider: you have to stay patient on defense. Even if Homestead gets out to an early lead, we all remember what happened last year in the sectional. The Spartans led by 14 points, ended up losing that one, and Snider won by 14 points. So this is a game of 4 quarters. If Homestead gets out to an early lead, don't be surprised if Snider's able to come back again.
And you think a game against Dwenger last week will benefit Homestead heading to this one? Because they'll be more experienced against the elite competition, but it was a very tough game. They might be a little worn out from that one.
Yeah, a lot of players were kind of banged up in that game. Ryan Burton, Donovan Leonard, both on defense, came out of the game at one point with injuries. They did come back in later to play, but you never know about injuries for Homestead. But I think that Dwenger game does help them. It was a 17-15 game, the closest by far of the season. Homestead, they had the mercy rule in the previous 3 games. None of them were close at all. All of them were blowouts. Same thing with Snider, except for the Carroll game. They did have a little bit of experience with a close game. They actually beat Carroll 21-20 in week 2. So both teams have had one close game and the rest blowouts.
Both teams being set for action. What are some things you expect to see from these teams tonight?
Yeah, well, with Homestead, I expect their offense to continue the firepower they had. They didn't score too many points last week, only 17, but Dwenger had one of the best defenses in the state. Homestead, they need to do better on third downs. Last week, they weren't very good at all. They're actually 50% on the season on third down conversions. Did not go for any fourth downs last week. They need to make more plays into 4-down territory rather than if they don't get it on third down, they just punt it away. Field position will be a huge issue for Homestead. They really struggled last week with field position, getting inside of their own 20 or even 10-yard lines on multiple drives, which limited them from going down the field and gave Dwenger some very good field position because Homestead, they're not able to move the ball at all. It's going to be interesting to see each defense and how many points are scored. I really don't think this will be a 49-35 game like last year in sectional. When they played in the regular season, it was 23-7, which Snider won that one. I expect it to be a little bit more low scoring, similar to the one in the regular season.
It looks like Homestead will kick off to start the game. Snider, a few players back deep to return the kick. This is a big first drive for Homestead defense.
Yeah, if the defense can just hold Snider to no points at all, that'll be a win.
Gunnar Fry on to kickoff. Had the big field goal that pushed Homestead ahead by 2 possessions. 2 scores late in the game against Bishop. Dwenger. Homestead looking to keep their undefeated season going. They're set to kick off. Couple Panthers back deep to return. And we're off. Kick is deep. Fielded at the 10 by Snider. Man out past the 20. Tries to cut it upfield. And he's dropped inside the 25.
Yeah, that was Jay-Sean Underwood with the return. Not able to get much there as the Homestead special teams able to stop him.
And senior quarterback now, John Barnes Jr. for the Snider Panthers, will lead them on the attack. He's going to have a big game for them if they want to win this.
Yeah, he's been very good this season. 7 passing touchdowns, no interceptions, nearly 600 passing yards. He played all of last season as a starter. Very talented player.
A very talented player. John Barnes heads out there with Lonnie Bennett in the backfield. 2 receivers lined up to the left. A tight end left side. And Dylan Duff, the basketball standout, lined up outright. Ball in the right hash at their own 24 as they start. It's a QB keeper to Barnes. Keeps up the middle. Pulled down at the 29. A gain of about 5 on first down. Makes it 2nd down and 5 for the Snider Panthers on 2nd down.
A good stop for the Homestead defense to start this game. Sealed is 2nd and long.
It'll be 2nd and 5 at their own 29. 11:30 left in the first scoreless ball game. Ball is snapped. Barnes back to throw on 2nd down. Throws it out left. Incomplete. He was targeting Santiago Ortiz, the receiver, out left. Fell incomplete. It'll be 3rd down and 5. This will be a huge for a Homestead defense. They'll get a 3-and-out first drive.
Yeah, Morgan Lehman was in on that coverage. That pass that was incomplete the last play. This is a huge play for the Homestead defense to start this game. Will they be able to make Snider go 3-and-out?
Empty backfield to either side. 3rd and 5 at their own 29. Receiver in motion. Ball is snapped. QB keeper to Barnes. He's hit at the line of scrimmage. Falls forward for a yard. But it'll be 4th down for Snider.
And you would think they're definitely going to punt here. Homestead defense did exactly what they needed to do. Go 3-and-out against that Snider offense. And let's see what the Homestead offense now is able to produce.
4th and 3. 11 minutes left in this first quarter of play. Scoreless ball game. Snider on to punt. It's Zach Tyndall to punt. The senior, Jake Archibald, back to return for the Spartans just in front of his own 35. Snider punting from their own 31. Ball is snapped. Rolls out right side and punts. They'll go inside the 40, bounce to the 30, inside the 30, so a favorable roll for the Snider Panthers. And Homestead will start at their own 26.
And still, that's not too bad field position against Dwenger. I mentioned they were getting inside their own 10-yard line most drives, it felt like. So decent field position for Homestead. Their defense just made Snider's offense go 3 and out. Let's see if Homestead's offense is able to move the ball downfield, maybe put some points up on their first drive of the game.
10.5 left in the first in the scoreless ball game. Homestead on for their first drive. They start at their own 26. Star quarterback Luke Goody heads out there with star Brayton Hardwick in the backfield. 2 receivers out right, 1 out left, and a tight end left side. Ball near the left hash. Ball is snapped. Goody hands a play action pass. Goody throws across the middle for Little. Caught 45-50. Pulled down inside the Snider 45. A huge play on first down. Doing the math here, it goes for over 30 yards.
Yeah, Griffin Little, the receiver for Homestead, the star senior, only 1 reception for 6 yards last week. A huge reception there, you mentioned, for about 30 yards or so.
35 yards on first down will be 1st and 10 from the Snider 41. 10:05 left in the first. Homestead looking to get the first score of the ball game. Ball is in the middle of the field. 2 receivers lined up out left. A receiver out right, Goody in the backfield with Braden Hardwick. Ball is snapped. Handoff to Hardwick up the middle inside the 40. Pushes forward for a few yards. And he's wrapped up and pulled down after a gain of about 4 or 5 on first down.
And Braden Hardwick, we keep mentioning how good of a game he had last week. 215 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns as well. He was a key player for that Homestead offense in that win over Dwenger.
It'll be 2nd down and 6 for the Spartans. Ball at the Snider 37. Ball a couple yards from the left hash. 9:20 left in the first. Scoreless ball game. Big matchup, 2 undefeateds, 2 top 10 teams in the state. 2 receivers out right, 1 out left, and a tight end right side for the Spartans. Goody in the backfield with Hardwick. Ball is snapped. Goody fakes the handoff, throws it across the middle to Little. Caught for a first down before he's pulled down inside the Snider 30, so Homestead keeps the chains moving once again, and they're looking to go to the play action passes early.
Yeah, 2nd reception for Griffin Little. I mentioned only 1 catch last week. Wasn't his best game of the season. Already 2 early catches for this Homestead offense.
1st and 10 from the Snider 28. 3 receivers lined up out left. 1 out right. Goody in shotgun formation with Hardwick. Ball is snapped. Screen pass out left to Archibald inside the 30, down through the 25. Pushes forward close to the 20. A gain of about 5 or 6 on the screen pass, and it'll be 2nd down and medium for the Spartans. 8:25 left in the first scoreless ball game.
And Archibald tackled by about 6 Snider defensive players. Homestead's offense looking good early on. Their defense got a 3 and out against that very powerful Snider offense.
It'll be 2nd and 5 from the Snider 23. 8:10 left in the first. Homestead looking to get the first score of this ball game. Shotgun formation, a receiver either side, and 2 tight ends to the right. Ball near the left hash. Flag on the play, and it's going to be a false start on Homestead. So let's move them back 5 yards and make it at 2nd and 10.
They had quite a few false starts, very costly false start penalties last week. First one today, first penalty for either team.
So move them back 5 yards. It'll be 2nd down and 10 for the Spartans. Move back to the Snider 28. They have it at the original line of scrimmage now. 2nd and 10. 7:52 left in this first quarter. 0-0 between Homestead and Snider. A receiver either side for the Spartans. 2 tight ends out left. Shotgun formation. Tight ends motion out right. Ball is snapped. Handoff. No, screen pass to Hardwick right side. Has some space. 30, 25. It's the block, and he's taken down. 2 yards shy of the first down marker. It'll be 3rd down and about 2.
Hardwick, more known for his running game, did have 5 catches last week. His first today. Could be a dual threat, running back, catching passes out of the backfield and having some good runs.
Homestead with some success early with the screen passes. It'll be 3rd down and 4 at the Snider 22. 2 receivers out left, 1 out right. Tight end left side. 7 minutes left in the first. Big first drive for the Spartans. They have it at the Snider 22. Goody in the backfield with Hardwick. Ball is snapped. Goody back to throw on third down across the middle to Little. Incomplete. Try to squeeze it in, and it'll fall to the ground. 4th down and 4. If you're Homestead, do you go for it here?
I think you do. You're probably out of range of Gunner Fry, and you definitely don't want to punt it here. So I say if you're Homestead, you probably go for it.
4th down and 4, and the offense will stay on the field. 6:47 left in this first quarter. Big 4th down early. If Homestead's able to keep the chains moving, that'll be huge for their momentum.
Definitely, and get closer to scoring the first points of the game. Their defense already looked good. Let's see if their offense is able to respond.
Ball on the right hash, 2 out left, 1 out right. Goody back to throw on 4th down. Across the middle, caught by Little for a first down to the 15-yard line. A huge conversion, and Griffin Little is playing huge early for the Spartans.
Yeah, I keep saying it. Only 1 catch last week. Did not have a good game at all. Already 3 catches on this first offensive drive for the Homestead Spartans.
It'll be 1st and 10 from the Snider 15, 6:30 left in the first quarter, 0-0. Homestead knocking on the door. 2 receivers out left, 1 out right. Ball on the right hash. Ball is snapped. Goody hands off to Hardwick up the middle, pushes forward close to the 10, and he'll be taken down after a gain of about 2 or 3 on first down.
And on the few runs that Homestead has decided to use that as a play, the Snider defensive line looking very strong. You do have Giannini Belizaire, 3 sacks on the season, 20 tackles, 6'2", 295-pound senior. He's a player to watch out on the Snider defense.
2nd and 8 now from the Snider 13. 3 receivers out left, 1 out right. Ball on the right hash. Ball is snapped. Goody back to throw. Screen pass out to Archibald inside the 10 to the 5 towards the end zone. He's in. A touchdown for Homestead. Jake Archibald on the screen pass takes it in for 13 yards. Spartans with a 6-0 lead with 5:36 left in the first.
A good pass from Luke Goody to Jake Archibald. That's his 6th receiving touchdown of the season as Homestead takes a 6-0 lead early on. This is probably the perfect start that you could have dreamed of if you're a Homestead fan, getting Snider offense to go 3 and out and then scoring a touchdown on your first offensive drive of the game.
Fry on to attempt the extra point now. Homestead up 6-0. Like you mentioned, Jake Archibald, his 6th receiving touchdown on the year. Led the Spartans in receiving heading into this game. Converted from quarterback to receiver for his senior year. And it's paid off. Fry's extra point is up. And it's good. 7-0 Homestead, 5:36 left in the first. And how huge is this for Homestead to get off to the hot start against Snider? So that's not something they've done too much over the last couple of years against them.
Yeah, only scoring 7 points in the regular season last year against Snider. Already 7 on their first offensive drive. That drive for Homestead took up quite a bit of clock as well. The defense able to shut the Panthers down, and we actually have a score update. Concordia leads 7-0 over Northrop, and I believe Southside also leads 6-0 over Wayne.
Wayne really struggling this year off of a very strong season a year ago. Lost a lot of talent. Not too many notable players coming back besides obviously Keshawn Fields. Good running back for them.
He's probably going to have a big game tonight for Wayne.
You would think against Southside, but maybe not. 5:36 left in the first. Homestead up 7-0 in this ball game off of Jake Archibald. Caught a 13-yard screen pass for a touchdown. We've seen Homestead utilize the screen pass a lot on that first series.
Yeah, it's worked well, obviously, in that drive, scoring a touchdown. Still, it's funny to think with the transition from Archibald playing, splitting time with quarterback Luke Goody last season, now playing a receiver, also playing the defense, had a huge interception at the end of the first half last week, so Archibald can pretty much play any position on the field outside of the lines.
The offensive line really struggled to protect Goody in the first half against Dwenger, so Homestead now looking maybe more of a quick pass offense because the Snider defensive line very stout.
Yeah, both Dwenger and Snider have very good defensive lines.
Fry to kick off. Snider had a 3-and-out their first possession, something they're not used to. Fry's kickoff is a short one. It'll hit inside the 30 and bounce out of bounds, so that'll be a penalty. Thought for a second Homestead maybe got a chance to recover that.
Yeah, it'll be a flag for kicking out of bounds. Snider will have some decent field position to start their second offensive drive after going 3-and-out the first time.
Snider will definitely start with some good field position on the kick. Maybe that ball had hung in the air a a little bit longer, Homestead could have recovered it.
Yeah, you know, another quick score update. Northside leads 6-0 over Bishop Luers. I think we both expect that one to be somewhat of a blowout.
Deuce Taylor, the Snider transfer, as the Northside offense rolling these last couple weeks. And John Barnes Jr., the senior, looks to rally his troops and head back out there and score some points for Snider. Weren't able to get a first down last drive out. They're down 7-0 as they take over at their own 35. Ball in the left hash, 2 receivers out right, a couple tight ends out there. Ball is snap, Barnes back to throw on first down, throws out left side, sails over his receiver's head. And he had Alonzo Derrick wide open in the flat, but just sailed it.
And this Snider offense looking a little bit shaky early on. The offense, 38.5 points per game. That's first in the SAC. Snider, that played Southside last week, scored 44 points. Homestead, their offensive average went down, only scored 17 against Dwenger last week.
2nd and 10 from their own 35. 5:33 left in the first. Handoff to Bennett up the middle. And he's hit the line of scrimmage, pulled down for a gain about a yard, and just like that, it'll be 3rd down and 9 for Snider.
Another huge play coming up for this Homestead defense. When Snider had the ball and they were in their 2nd down and it went to 3rd down, the defense was able to stop them from getting the first down, and Homestead defense in a similar position to the Snider first drive. And if they are able to stop Snider, that would be a huge win for this defense early on in the game.
3rd and 8 from their own 37. Snider with it. 5:05 left in the first, down 7-0. 2 receivers out right, 1 out left. Barnes rolls out on 3rd down. Looks downfield, and he'll keep it himself. Run up past the 40, cuts across field. 45, flag down across the field. 50, cuts out to the 45. He's pulled down, but a flag on the play. This will probably be going back.
Yeah, it appeared that a Snider offensive lineman looked like he threw down a Homestead defensive player.
And looks like they'll call it back. We'll see what the penalty is.
So that run likely not going to count as Homestead, the early 7-0 lead.
And they're going to pick up the flag. So Snider will have it in Homestead territory now.
Interesting call. Looked like Snider's either Chris Reed or Elnay Watt threw down a Homestead defensive player. Interesting pickup of the flag early on in this game.
So Snider will have it at the Homestead 45 now, 1st and 10. Ball in the left hash, 3 receivers out left. And a tight end on the right side. Ball is snapped, and a flag is thrown. Whistle is blown before the snap. This will probably be a false start.
Coach Zollman talking to the ref, but it probably will be a false start.
Homestead up 7-0, 4:50 left in the first in this big matchup between 2 SAC undefeateds.
Maybe not a false start.
No play on that. We'll start 1st and 10 right now.
And there was no flag. They just blew the whistle. So it will be 1st and 10 at the Homestead 45. 3 receivers out right and a tight end on the right side. Barnes in the backfield with Bennett. Back to throw on 1st down. Throws it deep for Derrick. It's caught inside the 15. He's down at the Homestead 12. John Barnes connects with Alonzo Derrick for 30-plus yards on 1st down, and Snider, after that flag got picked up, they're in position to score now.
Yeah, this reminds me exactly of last week. Homestead, their first drive, they were probably going to punt the ball away. It was 3rd and long. They got a penalty, and they ended up scoring a touchdown, and Snider looking really good on offense after starting slow.
1st and 10 at the Homestead 13. Ball in the left hash, receiver either side. Handoff to Bennett, bounces out right side. He's hit at the line of scrimmage. Lonnie Bennett, nothing going there. Snider's leading rusher on the year, over 400 yards.
Homestead's defensive line looking pretty good early on. They have given up a few deep passes, but aside from that, the defense looking really steady for the Spartans.
It'll be 2nd and 10, 3:50 left in the first. Homestead up 7-0. Snider with it at the Spartan 13. 2 receivers out right, a tight end either side. Ball in the middle of the field. Ball is snapped. Barnes fakes the handoff, keeps it himself, and he's hit at the line of scrimmage, pulled down by Cole Etchison. Or actually, Luke Palmer made the tackle. And it'll be 3rd down and 10 for Snider.
Luke Palmer had a huge game last week, 10 total tackles. A big tackle on the Snider quarterback, John Barnes Jr. there.
So Homestead looking to get a big stop, 3rd and 10. Snider with it at the Homestead 13. 3:13 left in the first. Spartans up 7-0. Receiver lined up either side. for the Panthers. Barnes to throw on third down. Back left corner of the end zone. Deflected by Morgan Lehman. It'll be 4th and 10 for Snider. This is probably a field goal situation now.
You would definitely think so, but you never know with the Snider offense. And what a good play by cornerback Morgan Lehman, the 5'10" senior for Homestead, able to break up the pass. Had a pick 6 against Lures a few weeks ago.
4th and 10, and Trent Ryder will come on to attempt the field goal. It'll be about 30 yards. He's 2 of 4 on the year from field goals. 3:04 left in the first. Spartans up 7-0. Ball is snapped. His field goal is up. And it's good. Trent Ryder connects from 30 yards. And it's 7-3 Homestead now. 3 minutes left in the first.
Yeah, even though Snider still put up some points on the board, that's still a good drive for the Homestead defense, limiting Snider to only a field goal, not scoring a touchdown after the refs picked up a flag which appeared to be going against Snider and would have prevented a long first down they had. But still, a good start for the Homestead defense. The first 2 possessions only giving up 3 points to a very powerful Snider offense.
Snider, obviously you get down there, you want to be able to score, but for them, 3 points still a positive.
Yeah, putting some points on the board, that's a good thing for this Snider offense. John Barnes Jr. had a huge run, which gave him some good field position, and them getting the field goal. Let's see what this Homestead offense is able to do now.
And do you expect to see Homestead continue with a quick passing attack?
Yeah, it worked on the first drive they had, and when they scored a touchdown, the Jake Archbold receiving touchdown, that was a good start.
Jared Kistler and Caleb Fridge back to receive the kick for Homestead. 3 minutes left in the first. Spartans up 7-3. Jake Archbold scored a 13-yard touchdown on the first drive. On the connection from Luke Goody on the screen pass. That was Goody's 11th passing touchdown of the year, has no interceptions. Ryder on to kick off. His kick is up. He'll be fielded by Kistler. Drop. Fritsch picks it up inside the 10. Cuts it back across the field down to the 5. Not a good decision. And Homestead will have terrible field position to start.
Yeah, Jared Kistler tried to go for that ball. Probably wasn't the smartest decision. It may or may not have bounced into the end zone. But still, probably not the greatest play for Homestead.
And Caleb Fritsch, you probably don't want to try and cut it back up field like that. Ended up losing quite a few yards. Homestead now with it at around their own 5.
This is exactly like the Dwenger game. They had terrible field position, and it's stayed like that for pretty much the entire first half. Has kept giving Dwenger very good field position.
Homestead will start with it 1st and 10 at their own 6. 2:51 left in the first. They lead 7-3. Luke Goody leads the Homestead offense back out there. Lined up in the middle of the field. 2 receivers out right, 1 out left. Goody in the backfield with Hardwick. Ball is snapped. Hand off to Hardwick up the middle. Powers forward to the 10. So a gain of about 5 yards. It'll be 2nd down medium for the Spartans.
Yeah, actually, we have a quick score update. Northrop already scored another touchdown, or actually tied it up, rather. 7-7 between Concordia and Northrop.
26 yards, 2nd down and 4.
It'll be 2nd and 4 for Homestead. 2:28 left in the first. They lead 7-3. At their own 12 right now.
Big win for this offense with just be getting a first down, getting some decent field position. So if you're in a punting situation, you're not punting out of your end zone.
They line up there with 2 receivers out right, 1 out left. Goody in the backfield with Hardwick. Ball is snapped. Goody rolls out right side, keeps it himself, and he'll be pulled down at about the line of scrimmage. So it'll be 3rd down and about 4 for Homestead. And this may be a must convert with the field position you have. You want to, even if you don't end up scoring, you don't want to be backed up to your own end zone punting.
Definitely not, because Snider, we know how powerful their returners are. Jay-Sean Underwood, very talented returner and cornerback for this Snider team. So if you're Homestead, you want to get a first down, get some better field position. So if you do have to punt and you're in a punting situation, it's not out of your end zone.
3rd and 4 for Homestead. 3 receivers out left, 1 out right. Ball is snapped. Goody back to throw on 3rd down. Throws across the middle, caught by Archbold. Cuts it out 20, 25, 30. Gets upfield, gets the block, 40, 45. Pulled down shy of the 50. A huge play on 3rd down to Jake Archbold. And the Spartans flip field just like that.
Yeah, just when it looked like Homestead might have been in a punting situation out of their own end zone, Jake Archbold with a huge reception. A very nice pass from Luke Goody to the former quarterback, Archbold. He already has a receiving touchdown in this one. Homestead, they're back in business. Decent field position now.
First and 10, it will be from their own 49. Minute left in the first. Homestead with a 7-3 lead. Huge play on third down, as Homestead has it in good field position now. Receiver out left, 2 out right. Goody in the backfield with Hardwick. 2 tight ends will motion over to the left side. Ball is snapped. Goody hands it off to Hardwick. Bounces out left side across midfield now to the 45-40. Outside past the hash. 30, 25. Gets a block. 20 down to the 15 and pushed out of bounds just shy of the Snider 10. Braden Hardwick, you know when he's out there, it's just a matter of time before he breaks one off for a long run.
Yeah, Hardwick with a little bit of a slow start to this game. His best run so far today, very close, about 10-yard line now or so. Homestead, in about 2 or 3 plays, they really went all the way down the field.
Homestead will start with a 1st and goal at the Snider 10. Bad field position, rough start, but 2 big plays, and the Spartans are back in business. 30 seconds left in this first quarter. Homestead up 7-3 and knocking on the door once again. 2 receivers out left, 1 out right. Ball is snapped. Hand off to Hardwick on first down up the middle. Pushes forward to around the 5. Several Snider defenders will wrap him up, and Homestead will have it at about the 6 for 2nd and goal.
Yeah, Homestead in a good scoring position now after even getting to the 30-yard line of their own. A few plays ago appeared would be good for the drive as they were facing a crucial 3rd down. Then Lou Goody found Jake Archbold for a 1st down, and Homestead, they're looking very good right now.
That'll be the last play of the first quarter as both teams head to the sideline. Homestead up 7-3. We'll take a quick break, but be back for the 2nd quarter of action.
This portion of today's broadcast on the Point 91 FM is brought to you by
Marco's Pizza, located at 1345 Illinois Road inside the shops of Scott Road. Marco's specializes in pizza, cheesy bread, subs, salads, and many other menu items. You can place an order for delivery or carry out by calling 625-6800. That number once again is 625-6800. You can also order online at marcos.com. Thank you, Marcos, for supporting the Point 91 FM and being a proud sponsor of Homestead High School athletics coverage on our station.
And now let's head back out to the stadium for more Homestead Spartan football, right here on the Point 91 FM.
Welcome back to Dave Walters Memorial Stadium on the campus of Homestead High School for tonight's SAC heavyweight matchup between the Homestead Spartans and Snider Panthers. I'm Donnie Harmon alongside Matt Saalfrank as we get set for the 2nd quarter of action. Homestead up 7-3 right now, and they have it 2nd and goal with the Snider 6.
Yeah, you would think here Homestead, they're probably going to score at least some points. Luke Goody already found Jake Archbold for a passing touchdown, and Snider had a field goal. But Homestead in very good scoring position inside their own 10-yard line, or opponent 10-yard line.
Homestead definitely looking to score a touchdown here. Getting up 14-3 would be huge at this point.
It would be, although no matter how big the lead, we all remember what happened last year, but right now let's focus on this game. Homestead in great scoring position. Luke Goody looking good early on in this one.
And the Homestead offensive line protecting much better than last week.
Yeah, it was a very rough start for Goody against Dwenger and pretty much the entire first half, but the offensive line playing much better against a very dominant Snider defensive line.
Homestead with the 2nd and goal now at the Snider 6. They have it on the right hash. 2 receivers out left, 1 out right, and Little lined up at tight end on the right side. Ball is snapped. Goody back to throw. Screen pass out to Hardwick. He catches it, powers forward towards the 5, and pushed out of bounds inside the 5. It'll be 3rd down and goal, a few yards to go for the Spartans.
Yeah, huge hit by the Snider defender. That was Tavion Ruckless. The inside linebacker already has 17 tackles on the season coming into this one. Homestead, a crucial 3rd down coming up.
3rd and goal for the Spartans at the Snider 3. Want to score a touchdown this drive. You want to get that 2-score advantage. Field goal at minimum to make it a 7-point game. Snider known for being able to block kicks. That's how they won against Carroll. Receiver out left, one out right for Homestead on this big 3rd and goal. Ball is snapped. Hand off to Hardwick up the middle. He's into the end zone. Braden Hardwick. He's been a touchdown scoring machine this year, as he now has his 10th touchdown on the year, all on the ground, and the Spartans lead 13-3 with 11:50 left in the 2nd quarter.
Quite the perfect start for this Homestead offense. 2 drives, 2 touchdowns. First an Archbold receiving touchdown, then that Hardwick run right there you mentioned. Now 10 touchdowns on the season for Hardwick. That is all rushing touchdowns. He's been very impressive, probably by far the best running back in the area.
Gunner Fry on to attempt the extra point. Homestead up 13-3, 11:50 left in the second quarter. This has been about as good of a start as they could have.
Yeah, their defense played very well against the Snider offense.
Fry's extra point looked like it got deflected, but it's good regardless. It was almost blocked. It didn't look like it got tipped a little there.
Yeah, every point is so crucial. You just mentioned what happened against Carroll. They lost by 1 because of a blocked PAT. The Snider special teams unit is very talented. Gunner Fry able to make that one to give Homestead a 14-3 lead.
And Snider, you have the ball here. You got to do something with it. Down 2 scores early. It's 14-3. And just for momentum's sake, you want to be able to move the ball in this drive.
Yeah, you definitely do if you're Snider. And with the way that Homestead started that previous drive, they were tackled. It was a terrible return. Jared Kistler tried to catch it with one hand. Caleb Fritsch, I believe, ended up returning it, not getting much yardage. They were inside their own 10-yard line, went the length of the field to score a touchdown in a matter of about 5 or 6 plays or so. This is a huge drive for the Snider offense. Homestead's defense looked very good in the first 2 drives for the Snider offense. Homestead, they only give up 6.75 points per game. That's first in the SAC.
And not a good drive for the Snider defense, letting Homestead go 94 yards down this field and just pound it in.
Yeah, Snider's defense looking a little bit shaky early on, not really getting much pressure on Luke Goody at all compared to Dwanger last week when Goody was constantly blitzed pretty much the entire first half.
Homestead at 14-3, 11:50 left in the second quarter. No kickoff to Snider. 2 back to receive for the Panthers. We're able to get a field goal the last drive.
Quick score, Concordia leads 14-7 now over Northrop.
Good game between 2 teams. And SAC, all teams with identical records playing each other this week. Fry's kick is off. A lot better than the last one. Fielded at the 1 by Derek. He cuts it out to the 15, upfield now to the 25, forward to the 30. And he's taken down shy of the 30. Alonzo Derek threatened to take that one back all the way, but Homestead was able to bring him down.
Yeah, huge play there by Max Schultz, actually. Doesn't play a whole lot, but was in on special teams and had a huge hit on Alonzo Derek. Very quick player. If he would have gotten past Schultz, that could have been a touchdown, but the Homestead special teams able to stop Snider. They do have decent field position, though, about the 30-yard line.
Snider will start at their own 30. 11:40 left in the second quarter of this one. Snider down 14-3. Big drive for them. Big drive for the Homestead defense. A stop here would be huge.
Yeah, 3 stops in a row would be very impressive.
3 receivers out right for the Panthers. Barnes in the backfield with Bennett. Ball is snapped. Screen pass right side to Derek. And he breaks a tackle in the backfield. And he's taken down after about a yard. So Alonzo Derek able to break free of 1 tackle, which would have been for a loss, but he's only able to get it back really to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, outside of a few large chunk plays for Snider, their offense has been pretty stagnant, only getting about 2 to 4 yards on every single play. Their running game hasn't quite opened up yet. The Homestead defensive line playing very well to start this one.
Cameron Trotter in at running back now for the Panthers. 2nd and 9, ball is snapped. Barnes keeps it himself, runs out to the 35, 40. He has some space, 45, 50, 40. John Barnes, 25, 20, tripped up inside the 15. A touchdown saving tackle by Jake Archbold, but the quarterback shows off the wheels, takes it from the 31 inside the Homestead 15. And the Homestead defense has played great except for stopping the QB run so far.
Yeah, pretty much outside of 2 John Barnes Jr. runs, the Homestead defense hasn't given up much yards at all. You mentioned a touchdown saving tackle by Jake Archbold, as John Barnes Jr. was by far the fastest player on that play right there.
It'll be 1st and 10, Snider at the Homestead 12. Looks like we're in for an offensive showcase in this game. 10:35 left in the second. Homestead up 14-3. Ball is snapped. Snider hands off to Trotter, bounces out right side inside the 10. He's pulled down after a gain of about 5 on first down.
And last time the Snider offense was in a similar position to this, Homestead held them to only a field goal. Let's see if their defense is able to step up and hold them to another field goal this time.
2nd and 5, Snider, ball in the right hash. They have it at the Homestead 7. No receivers. Lots of people lined up at tight end and a fullback out there, so interesting formation. Ball is snapped. Handoff to Trotter up the middle, pushes forward into the end zone. Cameron Trotter runs it in, and Snider makes it 14-9. A huge drive. John Barnes Jr. ran it down the field, got it inside the Homestead 15, and Cameron Trotter does the rest.
Yeah, Cameron Trotter not even listed as the team's starting running back. Lenny Bennett is the starting running back, but Trotter, the backup, 326 rushing yards. That was his 4th rushing touchdown of the season. And Snider, thanks to that John Barnes Jr. run, they scored a touchdown after a few plays later.
Ryder on to attempt the PAT. The kick is up, and it's good. So for the Homestead defense there, had a chance to get all the momentum going in your favor, but that was not a good drive for them.
Now it's really that one running play. The running game actually looking somewhat good now for Snider. A huge run by Cameron Trotter, the backup running back to score his 4th rushing touchdown of the season. This game feels a lot closer now. Homestead looked in complete control in the first quarter and the first few minutes of the second quarter. Let's see what Homestead's offense is able to respond now after Snider scoring a touchdown.
Homestead gets it back up 14-10, 9:57 left in the second. And right now, if you're the Homestead offense, you almost feel like you're going out there having to outscore the other team.
Yeah, I think if Homestead wants to win this one, they're probably going to have to outscore Snider. Last year, I mentioned 23-7 was the score in the regular season. 49-35 was the score in the postseason. I thought this would be a low-scoring game, but right now it appears like it's going to be a shootout.
Homestead offense almost feel pressure to score every time right now the way the Snider offense has looked the last couple of times out there, especially John Barnes Jr. running it.
Yeah, he's been a very good runner and passer for Snider.
Ryder will kick off now for the Spartans. Kistler and Fritsch back deep to return. Ryder's kick is up, fielded by Fritsch inside his 10. He cuts it back to the middle of the field and pitches it over to Kistler. Gets out to the left sideline, 15, 20, gets upfield, 25. Tripped up shy of the 30, so a little nifty play there, a little handoff on the kickoff. Don't see that often. Kistler is maybe one broken tackle away from taking it to the house.
Yeah, Kistler has been known to bobble a few passes early on in the season, so thankfully able to hold on to that one and actually pick up quite a few yards. Homestead, they looked like they were going to be inside their own 15-yard line again. Now they're about the 24 of their own.
Let's say he stepped out of the 24, so that's where Homestead will set up shop. 9:44 left in the second. Spartans at 14-10. They have 3 receivers lined up right. Scavo out left, ball in the left hash, Goody in the backfield with Hardwick. Ball is snapped, and a flag is thrown, so this will probably be a false start, and Homestead will move back 5 yards and make it 1st and 15.
Yeah, I believe that's their second false start of the game. Those are never good for Homestead. There were a lot of penalties last week, already quite a few early on in this one, but Homestead, they're backed up 5 yards even further now.
Homestead now at their own 19, so take back the solid return, and they don't have great field position. 1st and 15 for the Spartans. 3 receivers out right, ball in the left hash. Ashley Little in at tight end, 2 out right, 1 out to the left. Shotgun formation, Goody and Hardwick. Goody back to throw on 1st down under some pressure, throws a screen pass to Hardwick. 20 gets some blocks, 30 pushes forward close to the 1st down, so the screen pass picks up about 14 yards, and it'll be 2nd down and short for the Spartans.
A good play for Braden Hardwick, had 5 receptions last week. Not really known to catch a lot of balls, known more as the true running back, one of the best running backs in the conference, and that was really the first true play where Luke Goody was pressured, had to get that ball out quick. The Snider defensive line was coming at him very quickly.
And let's say he stepped out a little earlier than we thought. It'll actually be 2nd down and 4 at the own 30. 2 out right, 1 out left. Ball is snapped. Goody hands it off to Hardwick up the middle. Can't find anything. He's dropped at the line of scrimmage. Braden Hardwick maybe lost a yard there, so it'll set up 3rd down and 5 for the Spartans. 9:25 left in the second. Homestead at 14-10.
Yeah, Snider free safety Brock Weidman was in on that tackle, had 9 tackles coming into this game on the season, and Homestead's offense slowing it down a little bit, not able to produce as many big plays as they did the first 2 drives.
3rd and 5 for them now. Need to get to the 34. 2 receivers out right, 1 out left, a tight end left side. Goody in the backfield with Hardwick. Big 3rd down for the Spartans. You want to convert here to keep some of that momentum in your favor. Ball is snapped. Goody back to throw on 3rd down under pressure. Throws across the middle. Caught by Rogers for a 1st down. Down. And he fumbles it. Puts it on the ground. Still on the ground inside Snider territory and knocked out of bounds. neither team could come up with it, and now Homestead will have a big gain, and even better field position thanks to the fumble.
Yeah, and you really can't blame Cam Rogers for that. He's playing basically with one hand. He broke his wrist or had a serious wrist injury. So Snider, they knew they were trying to punch it out of that one arm, not able.
Ball is snapped, hand off to Harwick up the middle, pushes forward to the 5, breaks a tackle, falls down close to the end zone.
Looks like the ball may have come out. Looked like a lot of Snider players attempted to jump on the ball, but no fumble.
They'll mark him down at the 1, so it'll be 2nd and goal for Homestead at the 1-yard line. So you just got to power it in.
Yeah, you got 3 tries to score a touchdown here. I think this is 4-down territory. Probably not going to kick a field goal unless, well, they're probably not going to kick a field goal at all.
A receiver either side, fullback out there now. Snider looks like they jumped off sides, but that's not really going to have any effect on this play at the 1-yard line. 6:11 left in the second. Homestead up 14-10 and ready to score at the Snider 1.
On Snider, half the distance to the goal will replay 2nd down.
And so they'll move the ball forward about 2 inches on the offsides and replay 2nd down. Ball is snapped. QB sneak. Goody up the middle. Looks like he got in.
Looked like he got in, waiting for a signal and touchdown.
And it's a touchdown. Homestead with a 20-10 lead with 6 minutes left in the second quarter. And this Homestead offense has looked phenomenal so far.
This is looking a lot like the sectional game from last year where Homestead led 28-14 at half. Their offense is looking very good right now. Snider's offense has looked somewhat decent, but the Homestead defense playing very well. But a surprise run by Luke Goody. We don't really see him run the ball much. I believe that's his first rushing touchdown of the season.
Fry on to attempt the extra point, and Homestead gets the ball back to start the second half. So if you're able to get a stop with the defense here, this game is very much in favor of the Spartans. Fry's extra point is up. Looks to be good, and it is. Homestead up 21-10 with 6 minutes left in the second quarter.
And Snider's offense, they responded the last time Homestead scored a touchdown. Will they be able to do it again? But yeah, only 6 minutes left in the first half. Homestead with an 11-point lead. Hardwick had a rushing touchdown. Goody at quarterback sneak right there. Then Archbold also had a receiving touchdown earlier on in the game. The first score was a Jake Archbold receiving touchdown, but overall Homestead playing pretty well on both sides of the ball.
And right now Luke Goody is just picking apart the Snider secondary.
Yeah, last week we mentioned he had a lot of trouble as Dwanger's defensive line was constantly pressuring Goody. Goody pretty much had no time at all to find a receiver, was getting sacked a few times, also had an intentional grounding penalty to try to get away, just threw the ball away. Didn't work out well, but Goody looking like his the best of himself this week in the first half, playing very well, already accounting for 2 touchdowns, 1 passing and 1 rushing. Already has 11 passing touchdowns on the season, 0 interceptions.
So Snider will get the ball back. If you're the Homestead defense, it's a huge defensive possession. You get to stop up 11 and get the ball back before the end of the half while you get the ball to start the second half. The defense, chance to make big plays here.
Yeah, the defense has had a lot of opportunities this game, and they've succeeded on most of those opportunities to stop the Snider offense.
Fry will kick off. Underwood and Derrick back deep to return for the Panthers. 6 minutes left in the second quarter. Homestead up 21-10. Snider will get the ball back here. The Homestead offense in control of this game. See if the defense can get the job done here. Kick is off. Then this will bounce out of bounds inside the 10. So another kick out of bounds, and Snider will get the ball with good field position to start.
Yeah, actually, we have a quick scoring update. Concordia and Northrop tied at 14. That's a good one.
Very good game. 2 probably evenly matched teams.
Yeah, we think Concordia was probably favored in that one, but you never know about Northrop.
6 minutes left in this first half as Snider will start, I think, their own 35.
Huge drive for both the Homestead defense and the Snider offense.
First and 10 for Snider at their own 35. They'll have it at the right hash. And John Barnes Jr. leads the Snider offense back out there. He's been a huge part of their offense on the ground so far. They head out there with 2 receivers out left at tight end either side. Barnes in the backfield. He Fakes the handoff, throws it left side for Duff. Incomplete, knocked away by Morgan Lehman. Duff bobbled it, and Lehman knocked it away. It'll be 2nd and 10 for the Panthers. 5:56 left in the second, down 21-10.
Yeah, nearly a terrible play for Snider. Only an incompletion, but another quick score update. Southside leads 20-6 over Wayne, so Southside's offense really getting going.
2nd and 10 for Snider. They have it at their own 35. A receiver out right, 2 out left, ball on the right hash. Barnes in the backfield. Receiver in motion. Handoff to Trotter up the middle, pushes forward to about the 40. He's pulled down at the 42, so it'll be 3rd down and 3 or 4 for Snider. This will be a very big 3rd down coming up.
Yes, another huge 3rd down coming for this Snider offense. The Homestead defense has done well against 3rd downs this season. Only allowed the opponent's 35% conversion rate.
3rd and 4 at their own 41, 5:30 left in the first half. Snider down 21-10, a big 3rd down here. A receiver either side, 2 tight ends out right. Trotter in the backfield with the quarterback, Barnes. Both sides in need of a conversion here. Barnes hands off to Trotter, bounce out right side. He's hit at the line of scrimmage and taken down. Homestead, the run defense comes up big, and it'll be 4th down and 3 for Snider. And what do you do here if you're the Panthers?
I think if you're Snider, you go for it. Even though Homestead just stops you on a running play there, I think you go for it here.
They have it at their own 43. It's 4th and 2.
Maybe a fake punt. You never know.
And it looks like they will go for it. Very risky in your own territory. Maybe you try and draw the Spartans off sides. 4:40 left in the second. Everyone lined up at the line of scrimmage. No receivers. Ball is snapped. Handoff to Trotter. He's hit and pulled down. Did he get it? It looked like he was short, and he was. A huge stop for the Homestead defense. A turnover on downs. And the Spartan offense will head back out there in Snider territory.
Good stop by the Homestead defense, but they might remeasure. It looks like some Snider players pointing for a 1st down. They're probably going to have to measure this one. It's going to be very close.
It looks like about a yard short. And a turnover on downs. Homestead takes over up 21-10 with it at the Snider 43 with 4:27 left in the second. They get the ball to start the second half. You can score here. You got to love your chances if you're the Spartans.
The game plan here for Homestead, run the clock as low as possible, put some points up on the board. You would like a touchdown, but even a field goal would be good. But it's got to run that clock down, so Snider, even if they do get a possession, they'll probably kneel. So hopefully Homestead can run the clock out and score this drive.
Homestead has really struggled with the Snider in the past. Haven't beaten them in quite some time. But at the rate this game is going, this could be the first in quite a while. 1st and 10 at the Snider 44. 2 receivers out left, 1 out right. Goody with Hardwick in the backfield. Ball is snapped. Fake handoff on 1st down, throw over to Kistler inside the 40, down to the 35 and pulled down shy of the 30. Looked to be good for a 1st down, so they keep the chains moving. Jared Kistler with his first catch of the game.
Yeah, Jared Kistler, a huge part of the offense last week. Only 3 receptions for 52 yards, but still caught a number of key passes, a few key 3rd down conversions.
It'll be 1st and 10 from the Snider 33, 4:05 left in the second quarter. Homestead with it on the right hash. 3 receivers out left, 1 out right. Goody in the backfield with Hardwick. They lead 21-10. Ball is snapped. Goody back to throw on 1st down. Throws it deep for Archbold. Too deep. Incomplete. It'll be 2nd and 10. If he had been able to connect there, that probably would have been a touchdown.
Yeah, the good thing for Snider is that stops the clock. There's still 3:48 left in this second quarter. So if you're Snider, you still do have 3 timeouts left. Both teams have 3 timeouts left in this half. If you're Snider, you're just trying to not let the clock run down too much and get a stop here.
Your Homestead really just wants some points, but preferably a touchdown.
Snider turned it over on downs. That'd be not good if Homestead not able to convert out of that.
2nd and 10 at the Snider 33. 2 receivers out left, 1 out right, and a tight end left side. Ball near the right hash. Ball is snapped. Goody fakes the handoff. He'll throw it across the middle. Caught by Little inside the 20, down to the 15, inside the 10. And it'll be 1st and goal, Homestead. Griffin Little keeps his big game going. There is a flag on the play.
Against Homestead.
And it looks like an ineligible receiver downfield. So call the play back. That's a big penalty for the Spartans.
That is. Griffin Little had a huge catch for the first down and getting some good field position closer to the end zone than a penalty like ineligible receiver downfield. You don't really see that a lot in high school.
And this looks like it'll move them a ways back. A 5-yard penalty, so maybe not as ways back as I thought, but still 2nd and 15, 3:30 left in the second quarter. If you're Homestead right now, you really don't want to give Snider the ball back.
No, just run the clock down, make Snider burn their timeouts.
3 receivers out left, 1 out right. Receiver in motion, ball is snapped. Fake handoff to him. Goody to throw. Throws it short for Hardwick, caught and falls forward to the 35. So Goody just had to get rid of it, and Hardwick's able to get a couple yards out of it.
That was a very dangerous pass for Goody. Luckily, Hardwick was able to catch it. Keep the clock running, that's the important part. Make Snider not have a chance to score the remainder of the half.
It'll be 3rd down and 13 for Homestead at the Snider 36. 2:55 on the clock. Homestead 21-0, and a timeout will be called by Snider.
Timeout called by Snider.
And Matt Homestead, a big 3rd down here, but even bigger for the Snider Panthers.
Yeah, if Homestead converts on this one, it appears like Snider may not get the ball the remainder of this half, only 2:52. But if Snider's able to make a stop, force an incompletion, or even if Homestead runs it or they go out of bounds, Snider will likely still get the ball. I don't think Homestead will go for this. I don't think they're going to kick a field goal at the 36-yard line of their opponent, Snider. They would probably just punt it, do like a Luke Goody punt, try to pin them deep in their own field. But you never know what'll happen.
Right now, you just can't have a turnover. Or you want to, if you're not going to score here, you at least want to pin Snider back.
Yeah, you want to run the clock down. Snider likely to take a timeout no matter what after this play, unless it's incompletion for Homestead.
So a big 3rd and 13 for Homestead, the Snider 36. 2:52 on the clock. Nearing the end of this first half of play, Homestead with the momentum up 21-10 right now. They get it to start the second half. The offense has scored in all 3 drives. We're looking to make it 4, but they have the odds against them on 3rd and 13. 3rd and 13, 3 receivers out right for the Spartans, 1 out left, ball near the left hash. Goody looks over to the sideline here. About 10 seconds on the play clock. A crucial play. Ball is snapped. Goody back to throw under pressure. Throws it out to Hardwick. Makes a man miss. Pushes forward back to around the line of scrimmage, or about 3 yards downfield. So it'll be 4th and 10. Inbounds at least, so the clock will run down inside 2:40. And Homestead, you just punt it here?
Yeah, you definitely punt it, and you think Snider still has plenty of time to score. Down by 11, 21-10, they trail Homestead.
And Homestead, you had all the momentum, your defense. You cannot allow any points here for Snider.
Yeah, after that turnover on downs, the Homestead defense forced the offense not able to do anything.
2:15 on the clock. Homestead in formation to go for it, actually. 4th and 11 at the Snider 34. And they will go for it. Goody rolls out right side. Throws it deep downfield for Kistler. Caught inside the Snider 10. Jared Kistler, his biggest catch of the year. What a beautiful pass, what a beautiful catch. And the momentum flipped just like that. Homestead with it, in position to score. 1st and goal Spartans with 2:01 left in the second quarter.
The biggest play of the game for either team so far. Jared Kistler, a huge catch, and he was actually being held on one of his arms, looked like, for the majority of that play. He's still able to somehow hang on to that one as Homestead, they're back in business. That was a huge play. That was very gutsy to go for it on that 4th and long.
And Kistler had bad struggles with drops the first couple games, but these last few games he's came to play.
He's looked very good.
1st and goal from the 6 now. A receiver either side. Homestead in business. Ball is snapped. Hand off to Hardwick, and he's pulled down in the backfield. Not a good run there. It'll be 2nd down and goal from the 8-minute 50 left in the second quarter. Spartans up 21-10.
I wonder if Snider may call a timeout here, just let the clock run down. About 1:45 left under that now. But Homestead, time really shouldn't be an issue.
Minute 40 left. You don't want Snider to get the ball back here. 2 receivers out left for the Spartans, 1 out right. Goody in the backfield with Hardwick. And it looks like Snider jumped off sides. And that'll move him forward. Probably half the distance to the goal, and Homestead will have it at the 4, which is a big advantage over having it at the 8.
Yeah, huge advantage. And if you're Homestead, you think you have to score some points here. They completed that incredible fourth down play from Goody to Jared Kistler.
Second and goal for the Spartans at the 4, minute 22 left in the second quarter. Homestead with it, a receiver either side, tight end either side. Goody in shotgun formation with Hardwick. Ball is snapped. Goody hands it off to Hardwick. Hitting the backfield. He'll be taken down for a loss of about 1. Not much going there. We lost a 2, so it'll be 3rd and 6 from the 6. And your Homestead here, just no turnovers. You want to be able to at least kick a field goal.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. You probably go for the field goal, even if you do get this third down play closer to the end zone. It's probably not 4-down territory. You want the points.
3rd and goal from the 6, 45 seconds left. Big play here. Snider in need of a stop. 2 receivers out left for the Spartans, 1 out right. Ball near the middle of the field. Ball is snapped. Goody to throw on 3rd down. Goes across the middle. Caught by Little in the end zone. Touchdown Spartans, 27-10 with 30 seconds left in this second quarter. And they just can't stop converting on 3rd down, 4th down, whatever it is. The Homestead offense gets it done, and Luke Goody has looked phenomenal in this game.
Yeah, Luke Goody looking incredible. Like by far the best quarterback in the SAC. A very, very good game. That's his second passing touchdown of the game. He already had a rushing touchdown. Quarterback sneak as Homestead takes a 27-10 lead.
31 seconds left. You just don't want to allow any long kick returns like we saw against Dwenger at the end of the half.
Special teams got to come up huge.
Fry on to attempt the extra point to make it 28-10 Homestead. Ball is snapped. Fry's extra point is up. And it's good. 28-10 Homestead, 31.8 on the clock in this second quarter. And Snider, if you get it back, you even try anything because Homestead, they get it to start the second half.
We'll see about the return. If Snider's able to get a good return like you mentioned Dwenger did last week, they returned it about 80 yards or so in the final seconds, but then Lytle threw an interception and they weren't able to score at all. Archibald had that interception, but yeah, if you're Homestead, make a good tackle on special teams, pin them deep in their own field position, and make sure Snider's not able to even have a chance to score in this half.
Homestead up 28-10, and they played, aside from some defensive mistakes, almost a flawless game offensively, and the defense has made some big plays as well.
Yeah, both offense and defense playing very well for Homestead.
Homestead really looking good right now. And we know Snider's always legit. We saw how Dwenger competed last week. So I think Dwenger, maybe they could be a state title contender in 5A.
Yeah, actually, speaking of Dwenger, they lead 3-0 over Carroll at halftime. And if you're a Homestead fan, you want Dwenger to win. Because if Homestead wins today, they'll be undefeated, and then they'll face Carroll, probably the only tough team they have left on their schedule. And if Carroll's able to beat them and Carroll wins out, they'll win the conference. So if you're Homestead, you want Dwenger to beat Carroll, and that's currently happening right now.
If you're Homestead, you'd probably just squib this kick here to prevent a big return.
That's what I would do, make sure it doesn't go out of bounds, get a penalty. You just don't want a big return here. That'd be the worst possible scenario for Homestead.
For sure, no touchdowns. Fry to kick off, 3 back to return for the Snider Panthers. Homestead up 28-10, 30 seconds left in this first half. The squib kick is up. It'll bounce, fielded inside the 30 by Snider. And they'll be taken down around the 35. Looks like the ball may have came out, but Snider definitely has it.
With the return for Snider.
And so with 25 seconds left of your Snider, do you try anything with it at your own 35?
I wouldn't be surprised if they did try something, but I would say probably the smart play would just to kneel and go into halftime. You don't want to risk something else happening. Bad for Snider. They're already down by 18.
Homestead up 28-10, 25 seconds left in this first half. Homestead getting it to start the second. Snider with it at their own 36, near the left hash. And they'll line up with 2 receivers out right, not in a formation to kneel. A receiver out left as well, so Homestead gonna have to play some defense here. Ball is snapped. Barnes fakes a handoff to Bennett, rolls out right side, and he'll throw it deep over. Caught inside the 25 by Snider, by Derek.
Just like that, Snider in a position to score.
15 seconds left. Disastrous play for the Spartans. A long pass, and Alonzo Derrick, look, he was in the midst of several Homestead defenders able to come up with the catch. Timeout called by Snider, so Homestead, now what you wanted there.
Yeah, it looked like there were 3 or 4 Homestead players and 1 Snider receiver, and he's somehow able to still catch it. A good play for the Snider offense, so if they want to put some more points up on the board, whether it be a field goal or a touchdown, cut into that Homestead lead, as Homestead does get the ball to start in the second half.
And if you're Homestead, the defense right now, your goal has to be to keep Snider out of the end zone and force them to take a field goal attempt.
Yeah, field goal at this point would be a win. You do not want Snider to get those 7 points from the touchdown and the extra point. That'd be the worst case scenario probably for Homestead. They have played very well on offense in the first half, 28 points. Their defense, outside of a few plays, has played very well. And just like what happened previously, it was one of those plays, just the Homestead defense kind of collapsed and Snider able to get a huge yardage gain.
Snider heads back out there. 15 seconds left. In this first half, they have it at the Homestead 23 now. 2 receivers out left, 1 out right. Barnes in the backfield with Bennett. Ball is snapped. Barnes back to throw. Under some pressure, steps up and keeps himself up. The 20, the 10, the 5. He's hit and taken out of bounds. Inside the Homestead 10, 8 seconds left.
I think if you're Snider, you probably go for 1 quick pass, because even if it's incomplete, you're probably still going to have time. You do have 1 timeout left. So I think Snider probably going to take 1 shot at the end zone, and then if that doesn't convert, probably kick the field goal.
And it's been a disastrous series for the Homestead defense. Up 28-10. You just want to keep Snider out of the end zone here. You do get the ball to start the second half, but if you keep them from scoring a touchdown, you might have a chance to put the stamp on this game first drive, second half. Snider heads out there, 8 seconds left. First and goal from the 6, a receiver either side. Barnes in the backfield with Bennett. Ball is snapped. Barnes rolls out left side, throws in the end zone, caught for a Snider touchdown. It was Jermaine Wells, and Snider makes it 28-16 with 3 seconds left. What a disaster of a drive for the Homestead defense.
Yeah, and just like that, Snider all the momentum back. Even though Homestead does get the kick in the second half, Snider, they've got to be thinking they've got all the momentum right now. That was a huge touchdown, only about 30 seconds left, and they scored with about 3 seconds left.
So the Homestead offense definitely has to keep up their momentum in the second half to avoid a repeat of last year. Ryder on to attempt the extra point. It's up and it's blocked. A low, or maybe not blocked, a low kick, so 28-16. And you give up the touchdown, not good, but at least you prevent them from getting the PAT.
That is huge. You never know. Last week, Dwenger, they went for a 2-point conversion and got it on their first touchdown, and that actually did matter as they had a chance, if they would have recovered it, to win the game only down by 2. But that was a huge miss by Snider. It's a 12-point game instead of 11.
And Homestead on this kick return, you already pulled out your trick play, so maybe you don't try too much here.
Yeah, Homestead just let the clock run out and take the 12-point lead into half.
2.9 seconds left in this first half. Homestead up 28-16. We're up 28-10. Snider had 35 seconds left. Marched down the field and scored quickly. So I guess if you're Snider, you're probably glad you didn't take that knee.
Yeah, definitely. A few shots, a few deep shots, and able to score a touchdown.
Homestead back to return the kick. Kistler and Fritsch. If you're Snider, you probably just squib this, try and kick it away from Jared Kistler.
You'd think so. Not really trying anything here, just let it go to half with Homestead leading by 12.
So Snider will kick off. It's Trent Ryder. They're trailed 28-16 over Homestead. Been a high-scoring ball game so far. Lots of action. This game definitely a lot more offense than the Dwenger game. So Ryder does squib it up the middle. Fielded by Kistler at the 25. Breaks it out right side now. Tries to avoid some defenders. Kistler running around the backfield, has it inside the 10 now. Inside the 5. And he has it now towards the 10, taken down. So Kistler didn't want to fall down there. And that ends the half. Homestead up 28-16. We're going to take a quick break. You'll get a chance to hear Carson Clymer and Ashton Hackman take a look inside at Homestead Athletics. So stay tuned. You're listening to the home of Homestead Spartan football, the Point 91 FM.
It's halftime between Homestead and Snider at Dave Walters Memorial Stadium. And now it's time for another episode of Inside Homestead Athletics. Each week you'll get details of all sports teams and players representing Homestead High School. And now here is this week's Inside Homestead Athletics with your co-hosts, Carson Clymer and Ashton Hackman.
I'm Ashton Hackman. This week on Inside Homestead Athletics, our own Carson Clymer caught up with Homestead senior soccer star Gabby Torres to get her thoughts on the Lady Spartans' performance so far this season. But first, let's take a look around the week it was for Homestead High School's athletic teams. Starting in volleyball, the Lady Spartans won at Huntington North High School on Tuesday. Emily Wilcox had 3 aces, Lexi Durnell with 9 kills, Caitlin Peters with 20 digs, and Hannah Gaither with 15 assists. Lexi Durnell also put up 3 blocks. Good luck to them as they head to Lafayette Jefferson tomorrow. Off to the races now with our boys and girls cross-country teams. Both teams ran in the Bruin Invitational at Northrop this past Saturday. The girls placed first, with senior Julie Dvorak leading the Lady Spartans with a first-place finish. Sophomore Mia Faber got second, Angelina Sedlacek got fourth, and freshman Reagan Alvarez got seventh. As for the boys, they placed third overall, even though Homestead's top 5 runners were not in the race. Both teams compete in the West Noble Invitational tomorrow. The boys tennis team had an amazing week, defeating Carroll on Tuesday 5-0 and winning against Adams Central High School on Wednesday. They will compete in the Homestead Invitational tomorrow morning. Finally, in girls golf, the Lady Spartans won at Franklin Central High School last weekend. They had an 18-hole total of 297. Good luck to them as they head to Timber Ridge for sectionals tomorrow. And now here's Carson Clymer, who recently caught up with Homestead senior soccer star Gabby Torres.
Thanks, Ashton. This week on Inside Homestead Athletics, I sat down with senior soccer star Gabby Torres to talk to her about a recent commitment to continue playing soccer in college and to see what it will take to get back to Indy this year after last season's state runner-up season. Gabby, you recently committed to Eastern Kentucky. First off, congratulations on your decision, but can you talk about what went into your decision to choose Eastern Kentucky?
Yeah, I think a lot of what went into it was mostly the philosophy of the coaches and really the dynamic I got from the team when I went on campus. They really had like a strong philosophy on, they play with a 5-back, which is pretty different from a 4-back. And they really admired my speed and athleticism to be on the outsides and still run up the flanks and be like an attacking part of the team, even though I played defense, which was something I really admired.
And a lot of kids who commit to playing a sport in college say that a huge weight is lifted off their shoulders and they can just concentrate on playing their sport instead of worrying about scholarship offers or visits. Is that something you've experienced after the commitment?
Oh, for sure. I think I had a huge sigh of relief knowing just where I'm going and what lies ahead, so then I can just be excited for the future and really focus on the season now and what we need to do to finish what we started last year.
As many fans know, unfortunately last year you came up just short of the state title. Has the culture around the team changed at all this year after such a tough ending to the season?
I think it just resonates with us and just compels us to push harder and know how close we were last year just to finish it and just know that we were that close. And I think the culture of the team, we've just bonded so much more this season, and I feel our chemistry has just come together and we just play together more. We're just one solid unit now.
And what was the experience like representing Homestead in a state championship game in downtown Indy, seeing the nice turnout of parents, students, and community?
I think the support really just representing Homestead after knowing that they hadn't been back to that state championship in 17 years and seeing the community really come with us and follow us there and continue to stay with us throughout the whole state tournament was just nice to know that there was support there and people were there for you, even people who had been on the team 17 years ago.
And going off that, what are some of the things that as a captain you tried to do differently this year than last year to try and get back to state and win it?
I think last year as a captain, it was kind of like our chemistry was a little off and we had sections that were really strong and we just needed to come together as a unit. And I think as a captain, I really worked to bring those pieces together and just play as one whole and allowing us to like focus more on our passing, playing quick, and having a high pace of game rather than the individual aspects.
And one of the things that gets Homestead girls soccer major attention is having Amelia White on the team. Most people are aware of her skills and her endeavors with Team USA for her age group. What is it like playing with Amelia, and what kind of player is she on the soccer field?
Amelia is a great player, and we just really love having her on the team. Obviously, she sets a standard for us that we all have to work towards. She plays very quick, and her technical ability is incredible. And I think she just puts us at, she just is a real role model for the team in where we want to be. And it's just a matter of coming together and working towards what she's all accomplished and coming together.
And finally, as the regular season is down to its last 3 weeks, what do you think the team needs to work on to get everything ready for another run to the state championship in Indy next month?
To make it far into the state tournament, most teams, in order to be the strongest, actually have to play the simplest in playing that 1-2 touch ball and making the other team chase. I think a big part of what we need to do is mostly just work on that pace of play and playing simple, and I think we can easily get back there. We're capable of finishing the job.
All right, Gabby, thank you so much for your time today, and good luck with the rest of your season. Gabby and the 6th-ranked girls soccer team will drive a few minutes down the road tomorrow morning to Canterbury High School to take on the number 11 team in the state pen at 10 a.m. That wraps up this week's special guest interview on Inside Homestead Athletics. Let's go back to Ashton.
That wraps up this edition of Inside Homestead Athletics. For Carson Clymer, I'm Ashton Hackman. We'll send you back out to Dave Walters Memorial Stadium for more of the Homestead Football Halftime Show right after this. This has been a presentation of Homestead Athletics and the Point 91 FM.
Marco's Pizza, located at 10345 Illinois Road, inside the shops of Scott Road. Marco's specializes in pizza, cheesy bread, subs, salads, and many other menu items. You can place an order for delivery or carry out by calling 625-6800. That number once again is 625-6800. You can also order online at marcos.com. Thank you, Marcos, for supporting the Point 91 FM and being a proud sponsor of Homestead High School athletics coverage on our station.
Casa Italian Restaurants with 4 Fort Wayne locations: West Jefferson Boulevard, DuPont Road, Parnell Avenue, and Stellhorn Road. Featuring Fort Wayne's famous Casa Burro salad, wood-burning brick oven pizzas, and over 30 pasta selections. Dine-in or carry-out available, or let Casa cater your next special occasion. Online at CasaRestaurants.com. Follow Casa on Facebook and Twitter. Casa Italian Restaurants, a proud sponsor of WCYT Sports Broadcasts.
And now, let's head back out to the stadium for more Homestead Spartan football, right here on the Point 91 FM.
Welcome back live at Dave Walters Memorial Stadium on the campus of Homestead High School for tonight's primetime SAC matchup between the number 5 ranked team in Class 6A, the undefeated Snider Panthers, and the number 8 team in 6A, the undefeated Homestead Spartans. I'm Donnie Harmon alongside Matt Saalfrank and Braden Carroll. Halftime right now, Homestead up 28-16. They have to be kicking themselves right now. They're up 28-10. They let Snider go down and score a touchdown with 35 seconds left.
Yeah, it's just unacceptable for Homestead if they want to end up winning this game. They gave up a touchdown, 30 seconds left. They just scored a touchdown. It looked like they were going to go into half with a 28-10 lead. That didn't end up happening. Snider, a few deep passes, able to end up scoring a touchdown in the final seconds of that first half to cut it to a 12-point game. And right now, I would say Snider probably has all the momentum going with them. If their defense can make a stop to start this third quarter, Snider is looking pretty good. This is reminding me a lot of last year's game where Snider, they got all the momentum going back in the second half. They ended up scoring 35 points to Homestead 7 in the second half. That was the sectional championship game of 2018. So hopefully, I really hope it doesn't end up like that one again. But right now, Homestead's offense has looked good, but they've given up quite a few good plays on defense.
Yeah, Homestead had the momentum going into halftime until they allowed that last drive to happen. I mean, we saw a defense that was really just dominating the ground game and just absolutely putting this Snider team to misery. But then with 8 seconds left, you know, we allowed them to score late, and now they have the momentum heading into halftime. We need to be able to gain that back.
Some stats from the first half. Luke Goody played phenomenal. 17 of 20 for 221 yards, 2 touchdowns. Brayden Hardwick, maybe not quite as good as he did against Wenger, but still 12 carries for 75 yards and a touchdown. Griffin Little, 6 catches, 89 yards and a touchdown. And Jake Archwold, 3 catches for 54 yards and a touchdown. And for Snider, John Barnes, 4 of 8 for 81 yards, a TD, and then 6 carries for 98 yards. So really killing Homestead with his feet. And Matt, I believe you have some scores from around the conference.
Yes, I do. Quite a few surprising scores as well. First of all, I'm going to start off with that Northrop-Concordia game. I think we both expected Concordia to win this one in the end, maybe be close in the first half, and Concordia pull away late. Northrop leads 26-14. That one's in the second quarter. I'm very shocked by that one. Somewhat expected score, although I'm surprised Northside hasn't put up more points. They lead 12-0 over Lures. That one at halftime, and probably the most surprising score for them all. The Southside Archers lead 32-13 over the Wayne Generals. The Southside offense really catching fire. Then the last one is Dwenger leads over Carroll 3-0, and that one's at halftime. And if we're a Homestead fan, which we all are, you need Dwenger to beat Carroll, so Carroll will have 2 losses and likely out of not have a chance to win the conference when Homestead plays Carroll later in the season.
So some interesting scores from around the conference. Probably the best week of football in the SAC we've had so far. Homestead 28-16 right now. They do get the ball to start the second half. And you think for them it's probably pretty important to march down the field, get some points, or else you might be in a little bit of danger of repeating the sectionals from last year. Because if the defense keeps playing like they did at the end of the second half, the offense is probably going to be required to outscore Snider.
Yeah, this one is going to turn into a shootout. My prediction, Snider, I mentioned they scored 35 points in the second half last season. They only had 14 at halftime in the sectional championship. They have 16 tonight. Homestead the same amount of points, 28. They lead 28-16 right now at half, and like you said, it's going to be huge for Homestead to go out there, have a good drive. They need to score some points. If they go 3 and out or turnover or anything happens where they don't put up any points on the board, Snider all the momentum. Their offense was clicking towards the end of that first half. Their defense looked good, made a few good stops. But for the most part, the offenses looked very good for Snider towards the final few minutes of that second quarter.
Yeah, and I think Homestead really can run down the field and score a touchdown the moment the halftime ends, because they've been able to convert on third downs very consistently. I don't know if they've missed even more than 2. And Braden Hardwick and Lou Goody are just looking absolutely dominant. They're controlling this offense, and they're really putting Snider's defensive line on their toes, as we've seen through their 2 offside calls.
And right now, a big point of emphasis for the Spartans has to be preventing the big plays, because mostly on normal plays, the defense look pretty good. They've gotten some 3 and outs, they've gotten some big stops, but it's those big plays, especially John Barnes with his feet and through the air a little bit, that really killed the Spartans.
Yeah, John Barnes Jr., 98 yards rushing on 6 carries. Barnes has been the star player for the Snider offense so far. That's about, 180 yards total of offense for John Barnes Jr., the dual threat quarterback, only 5'10", but playing very well in this one. And if you are Snider, I think you keep going with that kind of play action. Bull John Barnes Jr. run it. You found Jermaine Wells for the touchdown in the final seconds of that second quarter. There's a lot of good receivers. Dylan Duff, I really don't think he's gotten going at all. I don't think he's had a reception this entire game. The star basketball player, very tall, 6'5", actually the tallest receiver this Snider team has 12 receptions for about 230 yards on the season. Hasn't gotten going in the first half. Snider's offense really didn't look the greatest at all in the first quarter. They came alive in the second quarter, but I expect Snider to come out, and I expect their defense to play somewhat well in the first drive. Homestead still may score, but their offense is just set off, and they're going to go off, I bet, in the second half.
Yeah, Homestead has been really good for their set of downs in the first quarter, but then suddenly in the second quarter, you saw them dominate on the first downs and the second downs, but they'd start loosening up as the third downs came around. You'd see these big gains that Snider would get 40, 30, even 50 yards that would just shift the momentum for that drive. And that's mainly the reason why we have 16 points on the board.
We're going to take a quick break, but we'll be back with the rest of the halftime show and get started with the second half of action here at Homestead High School.
This portion of today's broadcast on the Point 91 FM is brought to you by
Arby's of Coventry, located at 5755 Falls Drive across from Zesto's. Arby's is more than roast beef, with turkey, ham, brisket, bacon, and chicken tenders. Arby's has the meats. Arby's at Coventry is open for breakfast at 6 a.m. all the way to midnight. To find more information, find Arby's on social media and online at arbys.com.
Casa Italian Restaurants, with 4 Fort Wayne locations: West Jefferson Boulevard, DuPont Road, Parnell Avenue, and Stellhorn Road. Featuring Fort Wayne's famous Casa Burro salad, wood-burning brick oven pizzas, and over 30 pasta selections. Dine-in or carry-out available, or let Casa cater your next special occasion. Online at CasaRestaurants.com. Follow Casa on Facebook and Twitter. Casa Italian Restaurants, a proud sponsor of WCYT Sports Broadcasts.
Moe's Southwest Grill, located at 6739 West Jefferson Boulevard next to Dunkin' Donuts Baskin Robbins. You can contact Moe's by dialing 969-MOE's, or for catering, that number is 969-EATS. Moe's specializes in southwestern foods like burritos, tacos, and nachos with no microwaves or freezers. You can visit Moe's online online at Moe's.com. Thank you, Moe's, for supporting the Point 91 FM and being a proud sponsor of Homestead High School athletics coverage on our station.
Marco's Pizza, located at 1345 Illinois Road inside the shops of Scott Road. Marco specializes in pizza, cheesy bread, subs, salads, and many other menu items. You can place an order for delivery or carry out by calling 625-6800. That number once again is 625-6800. You can also order online at marcos.com. Thank you, Marcos, for supporting the Point 91 FM and being a proud sponsor of Homestead High School athletics coverage on our station.
And now let's head back out to the stadium for more Homestead Spartan football, right here on the Point 91 FM.
Welcome back to Homestead High School. I'm Donnie Harmon along with Matt Saalfrank and Braden Carroll. A couple minutes away from the start of the second half. Homestead up 28-16 right now. What are some keys for the Homestead Spartans the second half if they want to win?
Yeah, well, Homestead, their defense needs to play a lot better, not give up those large chunk plays like Snider did, or like the Homestead defense gave up in that first half. Towards the end of the second quarter, the Spartans really need to play better on defense. I would say they played really good in the first quarter. Just play a little bit better, not give up those large chunk plays. John Barnes Jr., 98 rushing yards in that first half, more than his 81 passing yards. So John Barnes Jr. getting it done on the ground as well as in the air.
Yeah, I mean, Snider needs to spend the half getting their defense in check because their offense looked really dominant in that last drive, but their defense has just been stumbling around over Hardwick and Goody. And then Homestead needs to simply gain the momentum back. And like we said earlier, just come out and score a touchdown. I don't really think a field goal cuts it at this point because you've given Snider the momentum, and a field goal definitely isn't going to change their minds on that.
Homestead right now up 28-16 under 2 minutes before the start of the second half. Who's a player that for Homestead is going to have to be crucial for them in the second half?
Well, I think it's Luke Goody. He played really well in that first half. 17 completions on 20 attempts, only 3 incompletions, probably his best half of the entire season. 221 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, also a quarterback sneak rushing touchdown at one point. I believe that was in the second quarter. So Luke Goody has got to be a key player for Homestead. And then for Snider, I'm going to go with another quarterback, John Barnes Jr. So the two quarterbacks are probably going to end up deciding who ends up winning this game.
Yeah, and Luke Goody, like you said, he really needs to be the impact player here because he had 3 touchdowns in the first half, including 1 rushing touchdown, which we don't see often from him. So this Homestead team is definitely going to be looking at him and as the captain saying, hey, what do we need to do this drive?
And right now it feels like for Homestead, they're really 1 or 2 defensive stops from being firmly in control of this game.
Yeah, they had a penalty that was originally going to go against Snider that was picked up, and that resulted in about a 30 to 45-yard rush from John Barnes Jr., which set up a touchdown for Snider. And then to end the second quarter, that was just unacceptable for the Homestead defense. About 30 seconds left, it looked like, well, we were talking about whether Snider might even take a knee or just go into half with the score being 28-10, but they were able to get a few deep passes going and able to score a touchdown. They did miss an extra point that could end up being huge. You never know, but this one is going to be back and forth probably the rest of the game. But yeah, Snider, they've gotten a huge few plays to end that second quarter, which made this game a little bit closer than it probably should have been.
And Snider's still yet to stop the Homestead offense from scoring any points. Homestead 4 drives, if I'm not mistaken, 4 touchdowns. And the Snider, their defense, if they want to win this, has to step up second half.
Yeah, Homestead's offense has played very well in this one. Very consistent. You mentioned all touchdowns scored on each of their possessions. 4 possessions, 4 touchdowns, as you just mentioned. The Snider defense has played pretty poorly compared to what we're used to. They were 4th in the SAC, but they only give up about 8.5 points per game, so still one of the best defenses in the area. And in Class 6A, Snider's defense needs to step up, but more Homestead's defense needs to step up and not make this one a shootout, make it a defensive side of this one.
Obviously, you wanted to get that stop at 30 seconds left. But if your defense is able to play like you did against Dwanger, you should be in good shape for the rest of this game if you're Homestead.
Yeah, last week Homestead's defense able to shut Dwanger out the final, half of the second quarter. For the last 6 or 7 minutes of that second quarter, Dwanger did not score, but Homestead's defense gave up a few scoring plays to Snider in the second quarter.
Homestead set to receive the kick to start the second half. Fridge and Kistler back deep to return. Ryder to kick off for the Panthers. His kick is up. Fielded by Fritch at around the 10. Cuts out past the right hash, down the right sideline, 20 to the 30, and he's pushed out of bounds. So a solid return for Caleb Fritch, and Homestead with decent field position to start this first drive of the second half.
This is a very important possession for the Homestead offense. Got to get the ball moving down the field. They have done very well on third down and even fourth down conversions in this game. I believe now they're 5 of 6 on fourth down conversions on the entire season.
They'll start at their own 31. Ball on the right hash. Goody leads the offense out there, 28 points, 4 for 4 on drives. 2 receivers out left, 1 out right, and a tight end left side. Ball is snapped. Goody fakes a handoff, keeps himself. He'll run and fall forward just shy of the 35-yard line. So a gain of about 3 or 4 on first down will be second down and 7.
And Luke Goody already a rushing touchdown, I believe his first of the season. That was in the second quarter. Don't really see Goody run it much compared to last season when Archbold was pretty much a running quarterback, although obviously Goody the primary quarterback this season. 2nd and 6 for Homestead now. 2 receivers out right, 1 out left. Goody in the backfield with Hardwick. 11:20 left in this third quarter. Spartans up 28-16. Homestead's offense yet to be stopped by the Snider defense. Ball is snapped. Goody fakes the handoff. He throws left sideline for Little. Sails out of bounds too high. And already 3rd down and 6. A big 3rd down for the Snider defense and big for Homestead. This is a big play for both teams. If Homestead's able to convert, they're able to keep that streak of converting 3rd and 4th downs going in this game. And if Snider defense is able to not let Homestead convert, it'll be a huge win for the defense, and they have all the momentum going forward in this game. 3rd and 6, 11:05 left in the third. Homestead up 28-16. They have it at their own 35. 2 receivers out right, 1 out left, and a tight end right side. Ball a couple yards from the left hash. Ball is snapped. Goody back to throw on 3rd down. Across the middle, caught by Little. It looks to be good for a first down. Little hobbled. It's not a good sign. Little, that was his 7th catch of the game. Had 89 yards in the first half. We know he had a knee injury in the offseason. You mentioned a little hobbled up. He looks like he's going to stay out there, however. 1st and 10, Homestead at their own 42. Once again, they convert on 3rd down. 10:40 left in the third. Homestead up 28-16 with it at their own 42. 2 receivers out right. Little lined up out left. Ball in the middle of the field. Goody in the backfield with Hardwick. Ball is snapped. Goody fakes the handoff. Throws it right side for Kistler. Caught shy of the 50, and he'll be dropped at about the 48. So a gain about 5 or 6 on first down. A solid pickup, and Jared Kistler with another catch. Jared Kistler slowly stepping up as the weeks move on. Didn't have the greatest first few games, but had a number of key catches last week in that win against Dwenger. A huge catch on 4th and long in the first half that set up Homestead's final touchdown in the second quarter. 2nd and 5 from their own 47. 10 minutes left in the third. Homestead up by 12. A receiver either side. 2 tight ends lined up out left. Ball is snapped. Goody pitches it out to Hardwick. Tries to bounce outside. He does. Out past the 50. Pull down shy of the first down marker, but there is a flag on the play.
Flag on the play.
This one could be coming back.
It was a decent run for Hardwick.
It is a block on the back on Homestead. This will be a 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul, so it'll be 2nd down and longer now for Homestead. Homestead has proved they can convert on these longer 2nd and 3rd down and even 4th down plays as we saw in the first half. So Homestead will get moved way back. And it looks like it'll be 2nd down and 18. So 10 yards from the spot of the foul, but looks like occur in the backfield. And Griffin Little comes off the field. Maybe he's still a little bit hobbled up from a few plays ago. 2nd and 18. 9.5 left in the third. Homestead 28-16. Ball in the left hash. Goody back to throw on 2nd and long. Goes it short for Scavo. Incomplete. And we have a 3rd down and 18 for Homestead. Now if you're Snider, there's no way you can allow him to convert here. Yeah, similar situation to the end of the first half where the Homestead defense couldn't allow Snider to get a first down and even score a touchdown, and they did that. Let's see if Snider's defense is going to be able to prevent a play like that. The momentum right now not really in Homestead's favor after getting up 28-10. Snider able to score at 35 seconds on the clock at the end of the first half. Got a touchdown. On the verge of getting the first defensive stop this game. It's 3rd and 18 for Homestead, their own 34. Ball on the left hash. 2 receivers out right, 1 out left. Goody back to throw, rolls out right side. Throws it short for Hardwick, wide open, 40, 45, gets upfield, 50. Get the past the first down marker, down towards the 40. Braden Hardwick, a screen pass on 3rd and 18, and no one was back there to stop him, and he gets the first down. A disastrous defensive play for Snider.
Braden Hardwick emerging as somewhat of a secret receiver for the Homestead Spartans. Hardwick always about the line of scrimmage. Goody just shovels it off to him, and he's able to get about 20 yards or 25 yards and pick up the first down. Huge play for Braden Hardwick on this Homestead offense moving forward.
1st and 10 for Homestead at the Snider 41, 8:50 left in the third. They lead 28-16. They'll line up with the receiver either side. Ball on the left hash and a tight end either side. Goody in the backfield with Hardwick. Ball is snapped. Goody fakes the handoff. Under some pressure, rolls out right side. Throws it downfield. Caught inside the 30 by Jared Kistler again. And it'll keep the chains moving as the Goody and Kistler connection has been on point in this game.
Yeah, with Griffin Little going out a few plays ago, Jared Kistler really stepping up on offense. Keep saying he didn't have the greatest first few games. Has played very well in this one and played very well last week.
1st and 10 at the Snider 27. Jared Kistler catches it for a first down. Hasn't been dropping them the last few weeks, that's for sure. 8:10 left in the third. Homestead with it, up 28-16 in Snider territory. A receiver either side on first down. Ball is snapped. Hand off to Hardwick up the middle. Powers forward close to the 20, and he's dropped. It'll be 2nd down and about 4.
Still crazy to think how Homestead converted in that 3rd and 18 play after about a 1 or probably even a 0-yard pass from Luke Goody in terms of where Hardwick was on the field. Just ran for that first down and kept the chains moving. And Homestead, they're looking, well, they're about the 22-yard line, almost in the red zone.
It'll be 2nd and 5 at the Snider 22. 7.5 left in the third quarter. Homestead up 12. A receiver either side, ball near the middle of the field. Tight end right side and left. Goody and Hardwick in the backfield. And a timeout called by Homestead, so maybe you don't want to burn timeouts this early in the second half. But right now the Homestead offense, you had a 3rd and 18 and somehow able to convert on a little short pass to Braden Hardwick.
Yeah, that's a huge play from Luke Goody, and Hardwick's ability just to run for that first down once he catches it. We know how he is as a runner. He keeps getting yards going forward as a passer, able to juke out some Snider defenders and pick up a huge first down. Homestead, the play clock was running down on that previous play. They had to call a timeout. Not what you really want about midway through the third quarter. You want to save those for the late stages of the fourth quarter. But still, Homestead, their offense is moving down the field, and Snider's defense hasn't looked the greatest to start this second half.
2nd and 5 for Homestead, the Snider 22. 7:18 left in the third with the Spartans leading 28-16. And right now this Homestead offense just looks unstoppable.
Probably the best they've played all year against decent competition. Only scored 17 last week against a top-notch Dwenger defense. Already put up 28 in the first half against a very good Snider defense. It was only allowing about 8.5 points per game, although really the only good competition Snider played this season was Carroll, who's currently taking on Bishop Dwenger. That'll be one to watch a score for. Looks like it's still 3-0. 3-3 now, actually. It's all tied up in the third quarter.
The Carroll defense looks pretty legit right now.
Yeah, last year their defense struggled. This year much better.
2nd and 5, receiver either side for the Spartans. Tight end either side as well. Ball is snapped. Goody fakes the handoff. Looks downfield, throws it incomplete. Off the target. Was looking for Griffin Little. Would have been probably a touchdown, but now it'll be 3rd and 5. Snider defense, you got to get a stop here.
It looks like Ryan Burton is in at running back now. Was listed as backup coming into the season. Hardwick pretty much played as the only running back the entire season.
And Hardwick really been the only running back we've seen take meaningful snaps. We haven't seen Burton out there at all at running back. So maybe just Hardwick was like he intended to. Nothing serious probably, but Ryan Burton out there now.
Play clock running down again. 8-7. They need to call another timeout.
5 seconds left. Homestead hurrying up. Will they get off? They do. Goody to throw on third down. Looks downfield. Caught by Kistler once again. A flag is on the is thrown.
Incomplete pass. Goody intended for Kistler.
It was incomplete. And it looks like a penalty was called on Homestead.
Declined.
But declined. So 4th and 5. If you're Homestead, you go for it here. Try a field goal. 7:07 left in this third. Up to 12.
I don't know. With the way they've been converting on 3rd and 4th downs, I think you go for it here.
Burton's still out there. Homestead looks like they're going to go for it on 4th and 5 at the Snider 22. Snider in need of a big stop, down 12. 2 receivers out left, 1 out right, and a tight end left side for the Spartans. Ball is snapped. Goody back to throw. Steps up. He throws it over for Little. Caught at the 5 towards the end zone. Touchdown, Homestead. Luke Goody is playing out of his mind. He steps up in the pocket, lobs it to the open man, and Griffin Little with his second touchdown, this one for 22 yards, and the Spartans lead 34-16 with 6:59 left in the third.
Well, after a shaky start to that drive for the Homestead offense, they finally score a touchdown, go up 34-16. Huge play by Griffin Little, a lot of huge catches made by many different receivers. Luke Goody kind of a jump pass there, jumped and then threw it to Little. You mentioned his second receiving touchdown of the game.
And right now, Luke Goody having a high school career-defining performance.
Yeah, he struggled last week in the early stage of the game, looking like a top 10 quarter, probably maybe even top 5 in the state right now.
Fry to attempt the extra point. Homestead looking to make it 35-16. Extra point is up. Looks to be good, and it is. Homestead up 35-16 with 6:59 left in the third. And the Homestead defense now, the offense doing all they can for you. If you're the defense, you get a stop. That's big.
That is big, as the Homestead defense really struggled in the final stages of that second quarter. The offense had the ball for about 5 or 6 minutes or so of this third quarter, just about 7 minutes left to go in this third quarter. Homestead's offense played well, took quite a bit of time off the clock. Now the defense just needs to step up and make some plays.
35-16 Spartans, 6:59 left in the third. The defense needs to make some plays. Be able to get a 3 and out or whatever right here. Something in that category, and you're able to score. This game could be over.
Yeah, and actually have a quick scoring update. I still can't believe this score. Northrop now leads 33-14 over Concordia. That one's in the third quarter. Northrop, they did not look good at all against Homestead week 1. Maybe their quarterbacks, Issachari and Dylan Hoot, playing much better now, putting up some points similar to last year's Northrop team where they had the best offense in the SAC.
Northrop probably looking like the 5th best team right now, I would say. On the verge of becoming 3-2, and they're not bad.
You never know about Northside. But, yeah, Northrop beating Concordia, who we thought was by far the 5th best team in the conference. And Northrop putting on a dominating performance similar to the win over Carroll last season.
So 3 back to return the kick for Snider. They trail 35-16, 6:59 left in the third. Fry to kick off for the Spartans, the Homestead defense. Looking for a big stop. The kick is off. Fielded by Derek inside the 5. He has it near the right sideline. Cuts out past the 20. Tripped up and taken down around the 25.
Now comes a true test for the Homestead defense. How will they respond to adversity at the end of that first half? Gave up a huge touchdown play to Snider to cut into that lead. Spartans should have led by 18. Instead, it was only a 12-point lead at half. Snider missed the extra point. The defense overall playing very solid in this one. Snider had a very powerful offense. Only 16 points on the board right now.
6:52 left in the third. Homestead up 35-16. Snider starts at their own 25. Ball in the right hash. Empty backfield. 2 receivers either side. Barnes to throw. He throws it quick right side. Caught by Bennett. He breaks a tackle and spins forward for a first down. Lenny Bennett made a couple of defenders miss and is able to pick up the first down. So not a good start for the Homestead defense.
Now Homestead, they missed a few tackles there that would have got Bennett back about 5 to 7 yards further back where he was. Snider's passing game looking impressive. This one, John Barnes Jr. establishing himself as one of the best quarterbacks in the area.
Empty backfield once again. Derek motions He gets the handoff, runs out left side, pass the left hash towards the 40, towards the sideline, push out of bounds shy of the 45. And it'll be third down and about 3 or 4 here.
In the few plays that Snider has had to start this third quarter, they've been moving the ball decently down the field.
Second down and 2 for Snider, not third down. 6:20 left in the third quarter. Homestead up 35-16. Snider has it at their own 45. Homestead defense not playing their best in this one, but the offense been lights out. 3 receivers out right, ball on the left hash. Barnes fakes the handoff, throws across the middle, caught by Duff inside Homestead territory, good for a first down. So he got down to the Homestead 44.
And Snider just passing it at ease right now. The Homestead secondary not able to do much at all as this quarterback, John Barnes Jr., picking apart the Homestead defense.
First and 10 from the Homestead 44, ball in the middle of the field. Snider will line up with 3 receivers out right, a tight end left side, and Barnes in the backfield with Bennett. Ball is snapped. Barnes fakes a handoff, keeps himself up the middle, pulls through past the 40, and he's pulled down at the Homestead 37. It'll be second down and 3. Snider moving it very quickly on this drive. 5:40 left in the third. They trail 35-16.
Snider's offense looking very powerful to start this third quarter. They're responding well to Homestead's opening touchdown of the third quarter. Snider moving the ball down the field quite a bit.
Second and 3 at the Homestead 37. 5:25 left in the third. 3 receivers out left, 1 out right, empty backfield here for Snider. Barnes throws a screen pass out left for Bennett. Past the 35, down to the 30, 25, pushed out of bounds. A first down, but a flag is thrown.
Not sure what that is. It may be on the Homestead defenders pushing him out of bounds. Not sure yet.
If it's on Snider, this would be huge. And it is a holding on Snider, so 10 yards from the spot. And this will move him back. A big break for the Homestead defense.
Yeah, very big break for the Homestead defense. They gave up another huge play to that Snider offense. Penalty gives the defense a break to rest for a few seconds.
So it'll be second down and about 10 now for Snider. They have it at the Homestead 44. 2 receivers out right, 1 out left. Barnes in the backfield with Bennett, and a tight end is on the right side. Ball on the left hash. Snider trailing 35-16, just under 5 minutes left in the third. Ball is snapped. Barnes hands off to Bennett up the middle, but inside the 40. He's taken down by Rogers. Got it down to the 38, and it'll be third down and about 4.
I would think this is probably 4 down territory for Snider, so even if they don't get the third down, they would probably still go for it. But Homestead's defense needs to make a couple stops here. Hold Snider to no points on their opening drive of the second half.
Big third down, 3rd and 5 for Snider at the Homestead 39. 4:25 left in the third. Homestead up 35-16. Snider just trying to stay in it. Homestead trying to put him away. Empty backfield, 2 receivers out right, 2 out left, and a tight end right side. Ball is snapped. Barnes back to throw. Throws right side. Incomplete, and a flag is thrown. Donovan Leonard interfered there, and this will be a first down for Snider.
Yeah, penalty went against Snider. The previous play, that one goes against Homestead to kind of cancel them out as Snider moving the ball down the field and looking very good on the offensive end. They averaged just under 40 points per game on the offensive end this entire season, but they're playing very well right now. And Homestead's defense looking nothing like they did last week against Dwenger, even in the first quarter.
A 15-yard penalty, and Snider has it the Homestead 24 now. 4:08 left in the third, trailing 35-16. Snider needs a touchdown really to stay in it here. A receiver either side, 2 tight ends lined up. Barnes in the backfield with Bennett. Ball is snapped, handoff to Bennett. Left side, spins through, breaks a couple of tackles inside the 20. And pulled down after a gain of about 5 or 6.
Snider continuing to move the ball down the field, and last season in the sectional championship, Homestead's defense gave up 35 points in the second half alone. Snider moving the ball down the field early in the second half.
3:40 left in the third. Homestead up 35-16. Snider with it. 2nd and 4 at the Homestead 18. A receiver either side, 2 tight ends lined up left. Barnes hands it off to Bennett, bounce out left side inside the 15, pulls forward down to about the 12. Good for a first down. Keep the chains moving, and Snider has it 1st and 10 at the Homestead 12.
That was a nice tackle by Jake Archbold. Plays free safety and can pretty much move to any position on the defensive end. A good tackle there for Archbold and Homestead.
Homestead looking to make a big defensive stand here. Up 35-16. Defense needs to get a stop. 3:10 left in the third. A receiver either side for Snider. Ball on the left. Hash. Barnes in the backfield with Bennett. Barnes to throw on first down. Throws across the middle for Derrick. Caught near the end zone. He's in. Alonzo Derrick. Will they mark him down? Yes, they'll say a touchdown.
Wow. Touchdown.
Touchdown Snider. 35-22. 3:01 left in the third.
A good response for the Snider offense to that touchdown that Homestead scored on their first possession of the second half.
And Homestead right now just can't get that one big defensive stop. Ryder to attempt the extra point. This one's up. Looks to be good. And it is 35-23 now. 3:01 left in the third. And Homestead, the defense has to step up because you figure the offense can't keep up this pace forever.
Yeah, the defense needs to step up and make some plays. Actually, pretty much the whole Homestead defense had a tough time last week against Dwanger just because of the physical presence their players have. Even though they were able to limit them to only 15 points, it's still a tough time playing a team like Dwanger who's so physical. And against Snider in the first half, it was a very physical game. You wonder if the defense is wearing down from back-to-back very tough games against top-notch teams.
30 right, 1 left. Receiver in motion, and a flag is thrown. This will probably move Homestead back.
Flag on the play.
Actually,
Offsides.
an offsides on Snider. So you thought it would be some illegal motion. It's actually an offsides, and that gives Homestead the first down.
Yeah, Homestead with quite a few false start penalties in this one. Nice to see a change, and Spartans able to get a first down.
It'll be 1st and 10 now at their own 41. Ball near the right hash.
Homestead first down.
Homestead with it. 1:30 left in the third. Spartans up 35-23. A receiver either side. Tight end out right. Riders up on the left side. Receiver in motion. Ball is snapped. Low snap. Handoff to Harwick. Breaks through a tackle. 40, 45 up to the 50. Pulls forward inside. To the Snider 45. Braden Harwick gets the first down and then some. Gain about 15 yards, and Homestead with it at the Snider 45 with 1:05 left in the third.
A couple of Snider players trying to rip the ball out of Braden Hardwick. Was able to hold on to it. Only 1 fumble on the season. And after that point, he had 2 50-plus yard rushing touchdowns. So he responds well to when things don't go his way.
50 seconds left in the third. Homestead up 35-23. They have it 1st and 10 at the Snider 45. Goody rolls out right side, pitches it out to Harwick, past the 45, 40 gets downfield, 35 on the sideline, goes out of bounds, shy of the 30. Another first down for Homestead. Braden Hardwick taking over now. As Homestead has it inside the Snider 35, up 35-23.
I'm so impressed with how good the Homestead offense has been playing. Very consistent. Nothing like the game in the regular season between these two teams when Homestead only scored 7 points, more like the sectional final when the Spartans put up 35, and that's exactly how many points they have right now.
It'll be 1st and 10 at the Snider 34. 2 receivers out left, 1 out right for the Spartans. Ball in the right hash. Ball is snapped. Goody hands off to Harwick, left side, pulled down at around the 30, so a gain of about 4 on first down. 2nd and 6.
And you would think that Homestead would probably not run another play with the time run out. Don't risk another play of the third quarter.
And it looks like that's what they'll do, is they'll let the time run out of this third quarter. Homestead will head into the fourth, up 35-23. The Spartans offense has it at the Snider 31. We're going to take a quick break, but come back for the final quarter of action here at Homestead High School.
This portion of today's broadcast on the Point 91 FM is brought to you by
Moe's Southwest Grill, located at 6739 West Jefferson Boulevard next to Dunkin' Donuts, Baskin-Robbins. You can contact Moe's by dialing 969-MOE's, or for catering, that number is 969-EATS. Moe's specializes in southwestern foods like burritos, tacos, and nachos with no microwaves or freezers. You can visit Moe's online at moes.com. Thank you, Moe's, for supporting the Point 91 FM and being a proud sponsor of Homestead High School athletics coverage on our station.
And now let's head back out out to the stadium for more Homestead Spartan football right here on the Point 91 FM.
Welcome back live to Dave Walters Memorial Stadium as we get set for this final quarter of action between Homestead and Snider. Homestead's up 35-23 with it at the Snider 31, 2nd and 7. That's where we'll pick things off to start this quarter. I'm Donnie Harmon with Matt Saalfrank. It's been an exciting ball game. Homestead's defense not performing like they have the first 4 weeks, but the offense has been all world, scoring touchdowns each possession, and they have it in Snider territory right now.
Yeah, Homestead's offense probably playing the best they have the entire season. The defense really struggling in this one. They played very well the first 4 games of the season, and especially last week against Dwenger, only giving up 15 points, but already given up 23 to Snider.
Put 12 minutes on the clock for this final quarter of play here at Dave Walters Memorial Stadium. Homestead lines up for 2nd and 7 with the receiver either side and the ball near the right hash. Ball is snapped. Goody hands off to Harwick up the middle, bounces out outside, but he's pulled down after gaining about 2 yards, so it'll be 3rd down and 5 for the Spartans.
Actually, some score updates is that there really are no score updates. It's pretty much the exact same, but the main one is that Dwenger and Carroll currently still tied to 3 apiece. That one in the 4th quarter.
3rd and 5, Homestead at the Snider 29. 11:34 left in this game. Homestead looking to score. Snider looking to get a crucial stop. 2 receivers out left, 1 out right, ball in the middle of the field. Shotgun formation, Goody back to throw on 3rd down. Under pressure, throws it, caught by Little near the 1st down marker, and he gets the 1st down. Even when Goody's pressured, about to get sacked, he can find Griffin Little. And this is where Goody's height comes into play because he's been able to find people over the Snider defenders.
Yeah, Goody about 6'5", 6'6", maybe even 6'7". A very, very tall player, able to throw over a lot of these Snider defenders. Good pickup there for Griffin Little on the 1st down. He's had so many receptions. This one only had 1 catch last week for 6 yards. Probably over 100 yards in this game.
It'll be 1st and 10 for Homestead. The Snider 23, 10:50 left in the 4th. Ball near the right hash. 2 receivers out left, 1 out right. Goody in the backfield with Hardwick. Ball is snapped. Goody fakes a handoff, throws it to a wide open Kistler. Caught. Touchdown Homestead. Jared Kistler with his first touchdown of the year for 23 yards. And Homestead takes a 41-23 lead.
What a way for Jared Kistler to score his first touchdown of the season for Homestead. Wow, puts him ahead now 41-23. A great play, and Homestead able to respond to Snider's touchdown. Now the defense just needs to step up for the Spartans as Homestead's offense playing very well.
Homestead 6 drives on offense this game, 6 touchdowns. It looks like right now all you need is 1 defensive stop and it's almost over.
You never know with Snider. They always got a chance no matter how much time left.
You never want to let your guard down against Snider. Fry to attempt the extra point. It's up, and it is good. 6 of 6 on extra points this game. Gunnar Fry had the big kick against Dwenger last week. And with 10:39 left in the 4th, Snider down 42-23. Their backs are against the wall.
It definitely is, but we've seen how Snider's able to respond to this adversity, and being in situations like this. They were down by 14 to Homestead at the sectional final last season, ended up outscoring the Spartans 35-7. Homestead's offense playing much better in the second half of this year compared to last year's sectional championship. Homestead up 42-23, 19-point game, so that's 3 possessions, because even if Snider scores 2 touchdowns and gets a 2-point conversion, there's only 16 points, so they have to score 3 times at least. And like you mentioned, the defense just needs to stop or 2 and not let Snider score. Then the offense, as you mentioned, so many drives, and they scored in every single one.
And with the way the Homestead offense has been playing, you figure if you get a stop here on defense, the game's all but over.
I would not agree with that. Snider, they've been so good in coming back in these type of situations. Homestead, they had a similar lead last year, like we just mentioned. Maybe not quite to this extent, 19 points with about 10.5 minutes to go in the 4th quarter, but with Snider, it's never actually over until the clock hits 0.
Homestead to kick off. And first things first, you got to prevent a big return. Quickest way to score a touchdown is a kickoff return, so Homestead always got to be weary of that. Fry will kick off here with 10:39 left in this game. Homestead up 42-23. Two back to return for Snider. Fry's kick is up. It'll be fielded inside the 10 by Derek. He has it at the middle of the field. Bounces out towards the left hash. Gets it up field past the 35. Down towards the 40. A good return.
Derek on the return.
But he didn't give up a touchdown. The defense here has to come in and play big for the Homestead, though.
Yeah, even though that was returned to about the 39-yard line of Snider, still, it wasn't a touchdown. The special teams did their job, and now, like you mentioned, it's all for the defense for Homestead. Step up, make a play, force a turnover, maybe an interception. John Barnes has been exceptional in this one. Make him do something he hasn't done this game, and that's a mistake. He's played pretty much mistake-free in this one. John Barnes Jr. Rushing for a ton of yards, passing for a ton of yards. The Homestead defense just needs one stop here.
So Snider will take over with 10:30 left in the fourth, down 42-23 at their own 39. Three receivers out right. Barnes will keep it himself on first down, out to the 45, across the 50, 45 down the sideline, 35 out of bounds. John Barnes Jr. does it again with the legs. And Homestead, you got to find a way to stop him from running the ball.
Yeah, Homestead defense probably by far their worst game of the season, giving up so many big plays to the Snider offense. You just can't have that if they want to end up winning this one. Homestead's currently up by 19 points, but with the way Snider's moving the ball, that doesn't seem like much as they're able to score at ease in the second half.
And if you're going to get up a touchdown, you got to make him work for it. You got to eat some time. Ball on the left hash. Three receivers out right for Snider. First and 10 at the Homestead 35. Hand off to Bennett. Left side, tries to bounce it outside, and he's pulled down after a gain of about 3. So it'll be second down and 6 or 7.
Yeah, Cam Rogers on that tackle to prevent the Snider running back and starting running back Lenny Bennett from getting any yardage. The defense made a stop there, just a few more of those. It hasn't been the greatest game for them, giving up the most points the entire season at 23.
Homestead up 42-23, 9:55 left in the fourth. Second and 7, Snider empty backfield. Barnes to throw on second down. Throws it deep for a wide open Dylan Duff. He dropped it. He dropped it. What a break for the Homestead defense as he had the defense burned. He just went right through his hands. It'll be 3rd and 7 for Snider at the Homestead 32.
That was a touchdown for sure if he hung on to that. Huge drop by Dylan Duff.
And Dylan Duff hasn't played football for Snider before this year, so maybe some of the inexperience there as a receiver. 9:46 left in the fourth. Homestead at 42-23. Big 3rd and 7 for Snider in the Homestead defense at the Homestead 32. 2 out right, 1 out left at tight end right side. Barnes in the backfield with Bennett. Ball is snapped. Barnes rolls out right side on 3rd down. Looks to throw, steps up and throws deep in the back of the end zone for Duff. Incomplete. No flags. And it'll be 4th down and 7 for Snider.
No question they're going to go for it here. Need a touchdown. Field goal won't do it for you.
It'll be 4th and 7. Snider has to convert here. 9:38 left in the fourth.
Probably the biggest play for the Homestead defense to this point. They make it stop here, and the game gets a little bit easier, but still not quite over yet.
4th and 7 at the Homestead 32. 9:38 left in the fourth. Homestead, the defense looking for a huge stop. Ball on the left hash, a receiver either side for Snider and a tight end out there. Ball is snapped. Barnes back to throw, steps up, throws across the middle. Caught by Wells inside the 15. A huge conversion. John Barnes Jr. just steps up and makes a huge play as Jermaine Wells, the tight end, makes the catch. It'll be 1st and 10 for Snider inside the Homestead 15.
Jermaine Wells having a great game. Already has a receiving touchdown for the Snider Panthers, and the Homestead defense not able to stop Snider there, but a good throw by John Barnes Jr.
1st and 10 at the Homestead 12, a receiver either side. Barnes hands it off to Bennett up the middle to the 5, inside the 5. It'll be 2nd down and about a yard for Snider.
Yeah, and Snider really moving the ball down the field, set up by a decent kick return that got it about the 39 of their own yard line. A few huge runs, a few huge passes got him into this position.
2nd and 1 from the Homestead 3. Snider knocking on the door, down 42-23, 8:50 left in the fourth. Barnes hands it up to Bennett, up the middle, pushes forward towards the end zone. He got the first down, but I think they'll mark him short of the end zone. So it'll be 1st and goal for Snider.
Huge stop for the Homestead defense. This is obviously 4-down territory. No matter what, as Homestead or as Snider brings in some of their bigger players, maybe for a goal line type of run.
Only first and goal from the 1, 8:30 left in the fourth. Homestead up 42-23, but Homestead maybe just try and stop on one play, eat some time at least. Goal line formation for Snider. Ball is snapped. Handoff to Trotter. He lunges for the end zone, and he's in. Cameron Trotter scores his second touchdown of the game. It's 42-29. Homestead still hanging on to a 13-point lead with 8:17 left in the fourth.
In the defense, 29 points given up. Definitely not their best game. The offense has been very good for Homestead. They just need to go out there, run some time off the clock. They've scored on every single possession they've had. They've scored a touchdown, not even a field goal. They've scored a touchdown on every single possession they've had the entire game. The offense clicking on all cylinders. The defense is really struggling in this one.
8:17 left in the fourth. Snider down 42-29. Homestead. The offense clicking on all cylinders. The defense not playing great in this one, however.
No, the defense really struggling. 29 points is the most they've given up this season. They had a few shutouts, shutout lures. They held Concordia and Northrop to only 6 points.
8:17 left, and Snider will go for two. Ball is snapped. Barnes rolls out right side. Flag on the play. Deflected anyways, incomplete.
May get another chance, though, depending on what it is.
And it's illegal motion on Snider. Decline, so 42-29 Homestead. 8:17 left, and Homestead will get it back. You got to watch out for an onside kick, though.
Yeah, you just got to think of special teams for Snider. A missed extra point. Wasn't even blocked. Looked like he just straight up missed it. The kicker hit it a little bit low. Didn't quite go in, and they went for two and did not convert. So that's 2 points there that they lost, potentially 3 if they would have converted on that right there. But Homestead, the offense just needs to burn some time left. Still 8:17 left. Plenty of time for both teams to score in this one. It's definitely not over yet. A very exciting, close game between the only 2 undefeated teams left in the conference.
And right now, Homestead unable to pressure John Barnes, been able to pick him apart a little back there. Snider, they got a good offensive line with big fellas like Randy Holtz up there, the 6'7", 340-pound senior at left tackle.
Yeah, when you have someone 6'7", 340 pounds, it's going to be tough going against him. Also, a very good center, El Newa, 5'10", 230-pound senior. He's very solid at the center position for Snider.
Fritsch back to return for Homestead. They are aware of an onside kick potential here with 8:17 left in the fourth, up 42-29. Ryder on to kick. We'll see if it is an onside kick. Gets up to the line, and he kicks it off. Fritsch will field it at the 5, and it'll go through the end zone, so a touchback, and Homestead will start at their own 25.
Good thing that one went into the end zone. Fritsch couldn't quite hold on to it, but Homestead, they had some decent field position, not the worst, but not the best. Still, they have a chance to move the ball down the field a little bit. Still 8:15 left on the clock, plenty of time for both teams.
8:15 left in the fourth. Snider still hasn't stopped his Homestead offense. They're going to have to if they want to win. Homestead will start at their own 20, 1st and 10, up 42-29, 8:15 left in the fourth quarter. Homestead on verge of being Snider for the first time since joining the SAC. As Goody leads the offense back out there. They'll line up in the middle of the field with 2 receivers out right, 1 out left, and a tight end left side. Ball is snapped, handoff, fake handoff, over to Little across the middle, 35, up the field, 45, pulled down shy of the 50-yard line. Griffin Little once again. He's been on fire this game. The passing offense as a whole has been unstoppable.
Yeah, about a 30-yard gain for senior star receiver Griffin Little. Going to play some college football. Very talented player. Makes a huge catch there. Get this Homestead offense moving.
Griffin Little going to play tight end at Bowling Green. 7:50 left in the fourth. Homestead up 42-29. 1st and 10 at their own 47. Ball near the middle of the field. They'll line up with the receiver either side. Goody in the backfield with Braden Hardwick. Ball is snapped. Goody hands off to Hardwick up the middle. Nothing going. He's stopped at the line of scrimmage. So it'll be 2nd and 10 for Homestead.
Actually, quick scoring update. If my source is correct, Dwenger leads 10-3 over Carroll. 1:40 left in the fourth quarter. So it appears like Dwenger may be on their way to a win over Carroll, which definitely in Homestead's favor as they beat Dwenger last week.
7:10 left in the fourth. Homestead up 42-29, 2nd and 10 from their own 47, ball in the right hash. They'll line up with two receivers spread out left and one out right. A tight end is on the left side, that's Little. Goody in shotgun formation with Hardwick. Little motions out to the right tight end spot. Ball is snapped. Goody back to throw on 2nd down under pressure. Throws it deep for Rogers, left sideline, incomplete. Maybe Rogers not who you want to take deep shots to, as he's really only playing with one hand.
Yeah, it looked like his hand might have got irritated early on in the game as he fumbled it. The Snider player knew to rip it out of his hands, as he can only really play with one hand, playing on somewhat of a hurt wrist, to say the least.
And Snider needs to get a stop here. 3rd and 10 for Homestead, 6:44 left in the fourth. They lead 42-29.
Yeah, if Snider's able to get a stop here, that would be good for them going forward, and their offense is looking pretty much unstoppable, similar to Homestead. It's basically been offense versus offense in the second half.
Homestead 3rd and 10. They've been unstoppable on 3rd down in this one. Ball in the right hash, two receivers out left, one out right, tight end left side. Goody bobbles a snap, steps up in the pocket, and throws across the field for Rogers, caught for a 1st down. Goody avoids the pressure once again and finds Cam Rogers across the middle for 15 yards. 1st and 10 Homestead. What can you say about the way Luke Goody's played in this one?
Yeah, probably the best game of Luke Goody's career so far. No turnovers, quite a few touchdown passes, a rushing touchdown as well. A few huge runs in this one, has been very accurate.
And we know Goody getting recruited for basketball, a top 100 prospect, but he's looking like a 4 or 5 star quarterback in this game.
A very talented quarterback, by far the best quarterback in the area.
1st and 10 at the Snider 38. Two receivers out left, one out right, ball in the middle of the field. Goody in the backfield with Hardwick, and you'll hand it off to Hardwick on 1st down, cuts up to the 35 and gets pulled down after a gain of about 3 or 4 on 1st down.
And this is a good thing for Homestead as the clock keeps on running, taking under 6 minutes to go now. Although we see how lethal Snider's offense can be and score in a hurry.
And the refs stop play for a second. It looks like a Snider player will go off due to injury. 5:44 left in the fourth. Homestead up 42-29. They have it at the Snider 35, 2nd and 7. And if Snider's going to get a stop, it has to be now.
Now is the chance for the Panthers to make a stop as Homestead's offense moving down the field.
Clock resumes, 5:30 left in the fourth. Spartans up 13, 2nd and 7 at the Snider 35. They line up with two receivers out right, one out left, and a tight end left side. Goody in the backfield with Brayden Hardwick. Ball is snapped, hand off to Hardwick, breaks a tackle, 30, 25, down to the 20, 15, 10, and taken down. It'll be 1st and goal for Homestead inside the Snider 10.
Good run by Brayden Hardwick. Gets the Spartans closer to the end zone. Would have liked to see them actually get into the end zone because Snider's defense, you never know what will happen, but a very good run from Brayden Hardwick as clock approaching 5 minutes left in the game now.
It'll be 1st and goal at the Snider 8. 5 minutes left in this fourth quarter. Homestead up 42-29, looking to make it 49-29. The offense been unstoppable. 6 drives, 6 touchdowns, looking to make it 7. They line up on the left hash, a receiver either side. Ball is snapped. Hand off to Hardwick up the middle inside the 5. Pushes forward towards the end zone. Did he get there? Looks like he got in. Touchdown. Brayden Hardwick powers through. And Homestead takes a 48-29 lead with 4:38 left in the fourth. Brayden Hardwick, his 2nd rushing touchdown of the game and his 11th on the season.
Yeah, 11th rushing touchdown of the season for Brayden Hardwick. I interviewed him earlier today, and he was confident with the team's chances against this very, very good Snider defense. A very smart player, knows a lot about all the players and exactly what they do for the Snider defense, but a very good run for Brayden Hardwick. Put the Spartans up 48-29, and at this point, Snider's offense has got to score very quickly if they want any chance.
And they've done a good job scoring very quickly in this one. The problem for that is they haven't been able to stop Homestead once. Extra point is up, and it's good. Spartans up 49-29 with 4:38 left in the fourth, and now just get one defensive stop.
I mean, like you just said, Snider can go down the field in such a hurry 20-point lead with 4:38. You would think in most situations this would be safe, but I still give a small chance for Snider because we know how lethal and how quickly they move the ball down the field. They scored a touchdown in under 30 seconds to end the first half. They did miss the extra point as it's currently a 20-point game instead of maybe 19. They also didn't convert on a 2-point conversion, but Homestead playing really well, looking like the best team in the conference right now.
That's for sure, coming off a huge win against Dwenger. Hard-fought victory, 17-15, a defensive battle. This has not been a defensive battle. It's been a shootout, and Homestead's coming on top right now, 49-29.
Yeah, funny, I came into this one thinking it would be similar to the regular season matchup when there was a combined 30 points as Snider won 23-7, and this is more like the sectional game where Snider won 49-35. A lot of points scored in this one. Neither team's defense playing the greatest, but offenses are very good.
49-29, Homestead, 4:38 left in this game, 4 minutes and 38 seconds to go before Homestead can say they put themselves firmly in front for the race for the victory bell. 3 back to return for Snider. Fry will kick off. Homestead's offense, 7 drives, 7 touchdowns, near perfection. I don't know if it gets more perfect than that in football. Fry kicks off a line drive, will bounce at the 20, inside the 10, fielded at the 5 by Derek. Out towards the right sideline, tries to cut upfield, gets past the 25, and he's stuck by Nick Martin, thrown down out of bounds. And getting a little chippy out there. There's some late contact from both teams.
This is what you don't want for Homestead or for Snider. You don't want your emotions to get the best of you. You don't want any penalties here.
You also don't want to fight to get your season canceled.
Yes, that would be bad.
It'll be 1st and 10 for Snider as they set up at their own 27, down 49-29 with 4.5 left in the fourth. And Homestead right now, you just got to prevent those big plays.
If they can do that, they're going to win this game, but they haven't been able to do that pretty much the final 3 quarters. They did that pretty well in the first quarter, but Snider's offense played well the final 3 quarters of this game.
The defense, they played good on a lot of first, second, even third downs, which is, they can't get that. There's always that one play on each drive that allows Snider to score. They'll start with 3 receivers out left, Barnes in the backfield with Bennett, and a tight end right side, ball in the right hash. Ball is snapped, hand off to Bennett, up the middle to the 30, pushes forward, 35, up the middle, 40, down at the 45, Lenny Bennett with his biggest run of the game. Homestead maybe more prepared for the pass, and Bennett's able to take advantage of that for close to a 20-yard gain.
And Snider, they're still not out of it. We know how quickly they can score. You never know what may happen. The Homestead defense hasn't been playing great this game, but still, they have a 20-point lead. Should be safe, do you think?
Should be safe, barring a miracle. 4:05 left in the fourth. Snider with it, 1st and 10 at their own 45. 3 receivers out left. Fake handoff. Barnes keeps it himself. Bounces out left side. He's pulled down. Luke Palmer tackles him by his ankles. A huge stop inbounds. 3:50 left in the fourth. Clock is ticking. It'll be 2nd and 9.
Luke Palmer, a junior linebacker, had 10 tackles last week. One of the best linebackers on this team, probably the 2nd best behind Cam Rogers.
2nd and 10 at their own 45. 3:35 left in the fourth. Clock is ticking a lot after that last play. 3 receivers out right. Ball lined up on the left hash for Snider. They trail by 20. Barnes back to throw on 2nd down. Incomplete, looking for Wells, threw it wide.
The good thing for Snider is that stops the clock, but the good thing for Homestead that cost them 1 play. Now going to be 3rd and 10 for Snider.
3rd and 10 for Snider at their own 45. 3:26 left in the fourth. Homestead up 49-29 on the verge of a statement win. A Snider team they have not beaten since joining the SAC. I believe they haven't beaten them regular season since a long time ago. 3 receivers out right. They hand it off to Bennett left side, out to the 50, 45, 40, still going, 35, 30, 25 inside the 20s, pulled down inbounds at least, but Lenny Bennett on 3rd and 10 gets the huge gain.
That's what Snider, someone's down, it looks like.
And that'll stop the clock, not good. Even worse is that someone's injured. Homestead at 49-29, 3:13 left in the fourth. Can't see who it is.
Looks like I saw Nick Martin run on to the field with his helmet off. I'm still not sure who that is. Maybe the process of elimination on the sideline. It's not Archbold, I know for sure, not Donovan Leonard.
And it looks to be Cam Rogers. As you can see his cast.
Oh.
He'll get up and walk off.
Probably the best player on this Homestead team. Best linebacker probably in the area. Definitely don't want him to be hurt.
Hopefully he's all right. Snider has it. 1st and 10 at the Homestead 18. 3:13 left in the 4th. Spartans up 49-29. Ball on the left hash. Snider lines up with 2 receivers out right, 2 out left, an empty backfield and a tight end right side. Clock is winding down to 3 minutes. Barnes on 1st down, throws it across the middle for Duff, but he's tackled in bounds after a gain of only about 3 or 4. So in that situation, almost better to drop it, as he did earlier.
Cam Rogers runs back onto the field. Very, very tough player. Probably playing through a lot of pain right now, but does it for his team.
2:40 left in the 4th. Homestead up 20, 2nd and 7 for Snider at the Homestead 15. Barnes keeps himself, rolls out left side, and he slips and falls. That'll be a loss of about 1. It'll be 3rd and 7 at the Homestead 15. 2:25 left in the 4th. Spartans up 20.
Yeah, time ticking down for Snider. There's still time left. You never know, but it appears that Snider may be running a little bit short on time. Just over 2 minutes now.
3rd and 7. Now Barnes back to throw. Can't find anyone. Throws it across the middle. Touchdown. John Barnes completes it to Drew Sims for a Snider touchdown. Just when you thought it was over, they score 49-35, 2:03 left in the 4th. A 15-yard touchdown pass to Drew Sims. And Snider just not going away, and Homestead just can't seem to get that stop.
49-35, the score of last year's sectional championship game. Somewhat funny because Homestead had that score up in warm-ups to find some extra motivation for tonight's game.
49-35, it can change with this extra point. 2:03 left in the 4th. Ball is snapped. Extra point is up. Looks to be good, and it is. 49-36, 2:03 left in the 4th. Snider, they still have all 3 of their timeouts. And you figure, onside kick here. If you're able to recover your Homestead, you should be able to come away with the win.
You should be able to come away with the win. Currently a 13-point lead, 2:03 to go. This is somewhat similar to the Dwanger game where it was a 2-possession game with just a few minutes remaining. Dwanger just ran out of time, weren't able to recover the onside kick in the final seconds. 13-point game, though, you never know.
You never know about Homestead. If they get the ball and they're just running it, they may not score a touchdown, but it'll be tough to stop. And Bishop Dwanger held on to beat Carroll 10-3, another defensive battle. So the Saints have the most explosive offense in the area, but the defense is certainly elite.
Yeah, that's huge because if Homestead, it looks like they will win or at least an advantage to win right now. 13-point lead. They'll still be undefeated. Carroll with 2 losses, so they can lose to Carroll in a few weeks and have 1 loss and still end up winning the conference because of that head-to-head over Snider like today, if they end up winning.
Homestead away in the onside kick with 2:03 left in the 4th. They lead 49-36. Ryder on for the onside kick. Snider has to recover this, or else it would take a miracle for them to win. It's kicked, and it's fallen on. Homestead recovers the onside kick. Max Schultz able to recover it, and Homestead will take over at their own 45 with 2:01 left in the 4th.
And Max Schultz made a few important plays on special teams for Homestead. Doesn't really play on offense or defense, does play on special teams. Had a huge tackle on a Snider return that prevented them from going quite a bit further than that onside kick recovery for Homestead. That was huge as Snider, they do still have all 3 timeouts, as you just mentioned.
1st and 10 at their own 45. 2:01 left in the 4th. Homestead up 49-36. They'll probably run it here. 2 receivers out right, 1 out left. Ball in the left hash. Ball is snapped. Goody hands it off to Harwick up the middle. He's stuffed at the line of scrimmage. Pushes forward for about a yard, but is pulled down by a swarm of Snider defenders.
And all Snider's trying to do right now is rip the ball out, force a fumble, get possession that way. They still trail by 13, time ticking.
And no use of a timeout left. Snider still has all three. It'll be 2nd and 8 for Homestead. A minute 35 left in the fourth. They lead 49-36, so perhaps Snider thinks the game's all but over, so they haven't used a timeout. Maybe they will after this play. 2nd and 8, 2 receivers out right, 1 out left, ball near the left hash. Minute 20 left in this game. Homestead up 13 on the verge of a huge win. Ball is snapped. Goody hands it off to Harwick up the middle. Nothing going there. He's dropped at the line of scrimmage. So it'll be 3rd down and 8 for Homestead.
No games. Timeout called by Snider.
And Snider will use a timeout with a minute 8 left in the fourth. It's 3rd and 8 for Homestead. They lead 49-36.
This is a huge play coming up here on 3rd down. You think Homestead would run it, make Snider use and burn a timeout. Snider would probably get the ball back, you would think. I really don't see Homestead passing it here, risking it. They run it, Snider would likely use a timeout. I wouldn't think they'd let 40 seconds run off the clock. Still not over yet. There's still a very, very small chance for Snider.
Minute 8 left. Homestead at 49-36. Are you passing it here at your Homestead?
I would say you probably run it, because if the pass is incomplete or they catch it and they go out of bounds and it's not a first down, it'll stop the clock. And Homestead, the clock is their friend right now. They want to keep it running. Even though Snider does have 2 timeouts, you want to force Snider to burn one of those 2 timeouts.
I think you got to throw it here. Goody's played phenomenal all game, and a completed pass all but ends the game.
Maybe a play action. You never know.
It's worked so far. We'll see if it works here. Homestead scored on all 7 of their drives so far. This is their 8th. If they end up just taking a knee, they probably won't score. But still, with a minute 8 left, they have 3rd and 8 at their own 47. Snider needs to stop if they want a chance at winning. Homestead at 49-36. Spartans with it near their left hash. They line up with the receiver on either side. Rogers will move out to the slot now on the right side, and Little in at tight end on the left. Goody in the backfield with Hardwick. Ball is snapped. Goody fakes the handoff, throws across the middle, batted up. Where'd it go? Incomplete. It was deflected. Wasn't batted up, so it's 4th and 8 with a minute 3 left in the fourth. Homestead up 49-36. Can you just punt here?
Yeah, and Snider still hanging on by a tiny thread. There's still a very small chance for them to win. It would take a lot, but Homestead, they didn't do their job. They weren't able to get a first down there. They ended up passing it, ended up being complete, so Snider able to save one of their 2 timeouts. But Homestead still with the advantage now, 13-point lead, just over a minute left.
And Homestead, this is going to be their first drive not scoring a touchdown. Goody will punt, 2 back to return the kick for Snider. It's Derrick and Underwood. The punt is up. A flag is thrown. It bounces inside the 20, inside the 10, inside the 5, and Homestead knocked it into the end zone. It's not a great play, but we'll see what the flag is.
I believe that was Carter Cronin who went into the end zone, nearly saved it. The flag is huge.
I think they'll say it was inside the 5. He ended up downing it and say it was down. We'll see what the flag is. There's 49 seconds on the clock. Homestead up 49-36. On the verge, one of their biggest wins in years. One of the biggest regular season wins for the Spartans ever.
Yeah, Homestead 3-18 all-time against Snider. 22nd matchup. Last time Homestead beat Snider was 2006 in sectional.
This would be a huge win for Homestead. We have to see what they call here.
The referee is still deciding at the center of the field, talking it over between the 3 of them.
It'll be interesting to see what the penalty is. It is on Snider. And the legal, I'm not sure what it is. I think it's 12 men on the field. And
illegal participation called on Snider.
And we've seen a lot of 12 men on the field late in games lately in football. I would know as a Michigan State fan.
That must be rough for you.
And 49 seconds left. And it will be 12 men on the field. I think a 5-yard penalty, but will Homestead just decline it?
You would think they would probably get it.
Is this a first down? It's an automatic first down with 49 seconds left. Homestead 49-36. Homestead or Snider still with 2 timeouts.
What a costly penalty for Snider. 12 men on the field, and that could end up deciding the game.
That all but eliminated their .00001% chance of coming back in this one.
That's shocking to me.
2 timeouts left, and Homestead will probably just take a knee and finish this. And it's fitting they'll finish the game with the offense on the field, as that's what won on this one, is they'll probably hold on to win 49-36. Still 49 seconds left, so take 2 knees. Goody takes a knee, and the clock will run. They'll take 1 more knee, and Homestead on the verge of one of the biggest regular season wins in the school's history.
Yeah, what a win for this Homestead team. It was back and forth. They had as much as a 20-point lead in the fourth quarter. Currently 13. Looks like Homestead, they're going to pull off the win. Currently ranked 8 in Class 6A. Snider ranked 5. The two, Homestead, you would think would probably jump up to about where Snider is. You never know.
1 more knee for Luke Goody with 14 seconds left. He does it. Victory formation. The clock hits 10. The clock will run out. 6 seconds left. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The buzzer sounds and Homestead holds on to win 49-36 over Snider. One of the biggest wins in school history as the Spartans advance to 5-0 and are firmly in control of taking the victory bell for the first time.
Yeah, doing what they did last week against Dwenger, holding on for a 2-point win, 17-15, then coming back home and beating Snider, a team that they'd only beaten 3 times in 21 previous matchups. Homestead now 4-18 all-time against Snider. First time beating them since 2006, a long time. 2019 off to a very good start for this Homestead football program. I mentioned the 13-point win. Snider, they kept it close. Most of the second half, Homestead, they had a little bit too big of a lead to keep it comfortable for Snider, as Snider may have had a chance late in the game to come back, but they didn't quite. It's actually crazy. 12 men on the field is what ended up costing Snider the win. Homestead likely would have had to punt, but they somehow pull off the win. What a win for the Homestead team.
Yeah, that win was definitely what Homestead needed, because their confidence is all the way up. They are firmly in control of this conference, and they are firmly in control of getting that victory bell.
Homestead wins 49-36. What a game for the Spartans. What a performance by the offense. 7 touchdowns. 49-36. Scored every drive except the last one, which ended with them in victory formation.
Yeah, that's quite the game. First, it started with an Archbold receiving touchdown. Goody's first passing touchdown. Hardwick had a rushing touchdown. Goody, a rushing touchdown, a quarterback sneak. A very good game for Goody. Had another passing touchdown to Little. Another passing touchdown to Little. That's 2 passing touchdowns to Little. Had a very good passing touchdown to Jared Kistler. Then Hardwick had a rushing touchdown that put the Spartans up 49-29, just under 4:40 to go in the fourth quarter. And Snider, they did score with just over 2 minutes to go, but that was it. As Homestead, they moved to 5-0 on the season. Hand Snider the first loss, and at this point, it's Homestead's conference to lose. Since Carroll lost, Homestead, if they just win the rest of their games, which is against Northside, Southside, and Wayne, 3 teams that aren't the greatest, and then Carroll, if they lose to them, even if they lose to Carroll and have 1 loss, they'll still win the conference, do that head-to-head over Snider. So this is pretty much, you would think, unless Homestead loses to one of those lesser teams, this is probably their conference to lose at this point right now.
Yeah, this was the climax of the season. Like you said, the rest of their schedule outside of maybe the Carroll game is a good chance of a winning out schedule. This Homestead team, a big question was, can the offense overcome a very low-scoring game against Bishop Dwenger? And the answer was a resounding yes, as you can see from that 49 points put up, above their average on the season. Just a dominant game by both the offense and the defense.
And Homestead, obviously, the offense only put up 17 points last week. They came to play in this one. And a big reason for that, Luke Goody, 26 of 35 or 366 yards and 4 touchdowns. And the receivers in this one, Griffin Little, 10 catches, 152 yards. I mean, he had some good games. He also had some silent ones. Hardwick had 48 yards receiving. Jared Kistler with his biggest game of the season, 82 yards receiving, a touchdown. Archbold, 54 receiving yards. and also Cam Rogers with 44. So a lot of players stepped up. And, you look at the passing game, it was a ground game that got him the win last week. And Braden Hardwick, once again, the conference's leading rusher, the conference's best running back. He came to play once again. 25 carries for 165 yards and 2 touchdowns. You got to give some props to Snider, though, especially the offense. The defense, they got ran off the field. But the offense came to play, especially John Barnes. Ended up with 36 points. Barnes, 11 of 18, nothing special, but 158 yards and 3 touchdowns. Also ran for 131 yards on 10 carries. And Lenny Bennett had 87 yards. Cam Trotter also with 2 touchdowns. So a lot of notable performances in this game. But Homestead looks like they've taken the next step from last year.
Yeah, definitely. First beating Dwanger, and then Snider, I believe the first team since 2014, Wayne Generals, to beat both those teams in a single season. This is quite the win for Homestead. And once again, Homestead, they're undefeated now. Since Carroll lost, they have 2 losses. Homestead, they can lose to Carroll and then still win out. They have Northside, Southside, and Wayne, 3 of the teams at the bottom of the conference, and they can still win the conference if they lose to Carroll and win the other 3 games against lesser teams. So it's looking like it's Homestead's conference to lose at this point. They're by far the favorite to win right now.
Yeah, Homestead, they have just been able to dominate every single game outside of that Dwanger game. So expect them to have the best shot at winning this conference, especially after a resounding victory today.
Homestead winning this one 49-36 over Snider. Their first win against Snider since 2006. A monumental win for Homestead football, and all eyes on the game from 2 weeks from now at Carroll. Rivalry week. Homestead and Carroll, one of the best rivalries in the state of Indiana. And Carroll, 2 losses, but they're very close. 7 points to Dwanger, 1 point to Snider. And Homestead, if they can win that one, with Wayne and Southside the last 2 games, it looks like they're going 9-0 this season.
Yeah, there's always the chance of just winning the conference outright because of that head-to-head against Snider, even if they lose against Carroll. But then there's also wanting to finish unbeaten the regular season, like you mentioned, go 9-0. Then they have sectional play. They have a very good chance of facing the same Snider team again in sectional play. And how funny is it that last year's sectional championship was 49-35. Snider won this year in the regular season. It's Homestead winning 49-36, so only a single point different based on the loser of whoever lost that game. But still a great win for this Homestead program. 5-0 now, probably a top 10 team in the state regardless of class.
Yeah, this is one of the best victories in Coach Zollman's career. I mean, he's struggled a lot going against Snider, and today he proved that he can definitely beat that team. What you guys said about those last 2 games, I think they'll be a challenge. Big challenge.
Wayne Southside, probably going to be some wins, and assuming everyone beats who they should, Homestead wins those 3 games. Even if they lose to Carroll, they're probably going to get a share of the title since Snider and Dwanger have also defeated Carroll, so whoever wins in that matchup next week will probably get a share. But you aren't looking at a potential tie home, so they want to win outright. And this team looks legit. Homestead in this one. Looks like the game might have taken a similar trajectory as last year's sectional game, but it looks like they've taken the next step this year. They hold on to win 49-36 in a phenomenal offensive performance. We hope you tune in next Friday as Homestead travels to take on the Northside Legends, a team playing much better as of lately. Before we leave, we want to give a quick thanks to some of our sponsors, including Casa Restaurante, Moe's Southwest Grill, Arby's at Coventry, and Marco's Pizza at Illinois and Scott Road. Thanks to our board op back in the studio for pushing all the right buttons and making us sound good, along with station manager Andy Dunn and stadium producer Adam Schenkel for taking care of the on-site technology. Your final score is Homestead 49, Snider 36, as the Spartans improved to 5-0 on the season. The only big game left for the Spartans is the Carroll Chargers, and the Spartans look like they could be in control of their own destiny and win the victory bell for the first time. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week as we say goodnight from Homestead High School. You've been listening to Homestead Football on the Point 91 FM.